Here we go. Hey everyone, how's it going? It is I, the real Randy Chavez, coming at you today with a podcast with my good friend Justin. Right? Cheers, mate. Oh, cheers. All right.
Cheers. We're drinking the Kraken on this end.
You get the Kraken, I get the Angel Reserve, and
I had some of that last. Let's hear at my ceremony. It was it Angel Reserve? That's the one, the bottle, the bourbon with the wings on it.
yeah,
Yeah, that was pretty good. The guy who managed my retirement ceremony, I bought him a bottle because he said that's what he liked. So
nice.
it was single select barrel. It was the over the $100 bottle. It was really good.
Yeah. I don't know which one this is, but it's pretty good.
It's
Uh,
it's
did
it's a very good tasting bourbon for the price, right? Like it
yeah.
tastes like it's a $90 bottle, but it's really cheap. It's like for like 3/4 of a bottle, it's like $60.
Oh, nice. I looked on your profile a bit before, just thinking of like, okay, what should I ask him? And then did you have a birthday recently?
Yesterday.
Well, happy birthday. I'm sorry I missed it.
That's all
What,
right, man.
how old are you now?
42.
Oh, okay. And you were in the Air Force for 23 years?
So right now, is this part of the interview or is it just you and me talking?
Oh yeah, yeah. We started a minute and a half ago.
Okay, so DoD approved about 6 years ago all of military. If you are honorably going to separate or retire, DoD authorized us to take what is known. It in any other capacity, it's called an internship. But what the DoD calls it is a skill bridge, right? So it takes our all of our skills that we've learned in the military. It doesn't matter what branch, and it allows us to apply those in a civilian capacity. So we link up with a company and we say, okay, right now as a first sergeant, I'm a first sergeant, but it's really an HR manager. So it allows me to go to a company and kind of learn the skills that an HR manager has, and and be able to translate that ability to civilian life. And so the military will pay us up to 6 months of internship. And right now I'm on a skill bridge program.
Nice.
Well, so when I retire, it'll be 24 years and 9 days
Okay.
uh,
Oh, so you
of
still
service.
all
I'm
right. So
still,
even though you had the ceremony, you
yeah,
still
I'm
have
on
like
leave,
leave and
and I'm
stuff.
not going back on uniform. I'm on leave right now. I'll start in April. I'll start skill bridge, and then I'll do the skill bridge until uh, around the end of August. And I'll have more time off that I'll be able to get on payroll and and maybe collect one or two checks
Yeah.
on both ends, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So okay, so you said 24. So
Total, yep.
when you first joined, it was a pre 9/11 world.
Hmm.
What made you want to become an airman over a soldier or a marine? What made you just join in general?
Okay, so none of my family that I can trace back, direct family, right? So mom, dad, aunt, uncles, uh, none of mom, dad, grandfather, grandmother, those people were in the military. So I had nobody to lean into. And March, or let's see here, February of my senior year in high school, which was 2000. Um, I had not taken the ACT or the SAT, and I had somebody. My grandfather was well off. He was self-made man. He was born in a dirt floor shack, and he had owned an oil company that he had sold for millions and millions of dollars later on in life. But he had said that he would pay for me to go to school. I just knew that that wasn't something I wanted to do. I knew that I was going to waste his money, and that was going to tarnish our relationship. And so
Yeah.
I didn't know what else to do. And the recruiter had kind of gotten his claws in me, and he had asked me what I like to do, and I told him I like to party. But pause right there. What I really wanted to do is I wanted to travel. I grew up in a small town in West Texas. We lived on 500 acres, and I had never been outside the state. I went to New Mexico, but I don't consider that's a border state, right? But
Yeah.
that's it. I wanted to travel. I wanted to see Big Ben. I wanted to see the Great Wall. I wanted to see the Eiffel Tower, Pompeii, all of these places. And when I said I like to party, the recruiter said, he leaned in. He goes, "Join the Air Force. You drink beer at 18 in Germany." and German chicks love Americans.
It's
And he
true.
leaned back, and he thought he got me because of the party. And I never mentioned that I wanted to travel. And I was like,
Yeah.
I can live in Germany. And he goes, yeah. He he said, yeah, man, you live in Germany and we'll pay you to live there and you can drink when you're 18. And so that was really the catalyst for me to sign up was uh
It's Pito.
Ito, look at you, brother. What's going on, man?
Pito's in the army now.
I saw that, and
Yeah.
then he was Cole, Airman Cole, and him are now married. She's not
Yeah.
Cole anymore, I'm sure. Brother, I miss you, man. It's good to see that you're thriving out there.
Yeah, he was in Alaska for a while. I think they're in Florida now. Yeah, they having a good time. Yeah.
Good for him. That's awesome. I'm happy for him. So I joined the Air Force because he was the first one that told me I could travel. Right. And remember, this is pre 9/11. We're not at conflict with anybody.
Yeah.
And he said, there's a sign-in bonus. We'll pay you $5,000 to show up, and you sign up for 6 years. You get $5,000, and then you can travel. And just by happenstance, my first duty station was Germany. And I loved it. He wasn't wrong. German chicks love American dudes back then anyway, 24 years ago. The German beer is better. And
Yeah.
and so, yo was so good. Sick Wolverine comic poster. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. I have about 12, or let's see, I have about 9 of those posters that are around in my basement.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that was the catalyst for me joining the military, was to travel.
What was the workload like at first in Germany pre 9/11?
Do they know your history, or do we talk about that?
They know.
All right,
When you
so we're
interviewed me,
UPS.
they
We
gave
were the UPS for the military, right? We put heavy
Yeah.
shit on airplanes, cargo of any type, right? Anything from a package of toilet paper to class 3 radioactive, we move it, right? The military moves its own cargo all over the world, and our job, uh, Randy and mine, we put heavy things on airplanes and we took heavy things off. That's as generalized as I can make it. But if you can imagine what FedEx does at an international airport, we do the same thing. And so the workload in Germany was sustainment, man. It was, so there's several bases in Europe, and all of those European bases east of Germany, right? Because England got their own stuff. Well, no, that's not even right. So everything in Europe came to Germany, and then we sent it out on what we would call local missions, right? So England to Germany, they would fly back and forth. There was a couple of German other air bases, they would fly back and forth into Germany and pick this stuff up. And it was a standard, dude. It would be an 8-hour day. I showed up at 6:15. We started working at 6:30. I got a lunch and I left at 3:15 to 3:30. Right. And so, because I was on meal card and they had to send me to the chow hall. And
Yeah.
so I would get an hour lunch, and I needed it. It was a 15-minute drive to get to the chow hall from where we worked. It was a 5-minute walk to the parking lot, a 15-minute drive to the chow hall, and then you had to find a place to park.
No.
And so you really only ended up getting like 20 minutes to eat anyway on that 1 hour. But so in an 8-hour day, I would get an hour lunch, and then on the weekends we would go and party. So like like 3 days there. My third day in Germany, some friends of mine that I was in training school with, they stopped by and they're like, "What are we doing?" I said, "I don't know what to do." And so me being from Texas, you know, 300 miles is not a far drive from me, right? And they're like, I said, "We should go to Paris." And we at 8 o'clock at night, we hauled in a car and we drove to Paris on a Friday night. And we got there at like 1:30 in the morning and drove around. I stood underneath the Eiffel Tower at 1:30 in the morning. I was like, I seen it. Uh, I seen the Eiffel Tower. I was like, what am I going to do now? Right. So I ended up going back during the daytime, but the workload was very manageable, and it was really agreeable to a young single person who living in the dorms who had no commitments.
And then you did that for X amount of months, and then 9/11 happened.
Uh-huh.
How soon did that workload change for you?
It was insane. It took about 6 weeks, right?
Right.
So you could tell it was the calm before the storm, right?
Yeah.
Things kind of slowed down and knowing now, right, big Air Force, the DoD was kind of moving things around in order to be able to funnel all that air support into Afghanistan. It took about 6 weeks, and what's crazy is I bought my first plane ticket to go home for my first leave ever. I bought it September 11th at 10:30 Eastern European time, or whatever Ramstein Germany time is.
Oh
And
wow.
and so they weren't even sure if they were going to let me go home on leave. I'd had it
Yeah.
planned out before I bought the ticket. I told them they
Mm.
agreed to it. And so the day before, so I was supposed to leave. I can't remember when it was, but the day before I was supposed to leave, they gave me a thumbs up and said I could go home on vacation.
Okay.
Um and but when I came back from that, it was um we pushed 106 flights a day
Oof.
at 96% departure accuracy, on time departure rate, for over a year. So
Oh my God.
106 missions, for those listening, that's 106 single airplanes leaving in a 24-hour period from Germany. And we probably touched 70 to 80% of those, meaning we either put passengers or we put cargo. Now, some of those were like airlift, like some of those were like medevacs, and some of those were other things, but we touched majority of those airframe. Um, and so it was busy. We worked 5 and 2 12s for about 4 months, which, when we do our job, it's not a 12-hour day because you got to come in and get a safety brief, and
Yeah.
then you have to go out and relieve a team. But we were moving. I don't know what the math is on 106 divided by 24, but um, it we were moving that much cargo that when we came into work, we started uploading and moving cargo on planes that were waiting for us. And the
Yeah.
guys that were loading a jet, they had to finish that job. And
Yeah.
sometimes your 12-hour day would turn into a 14-hour day. And
Yeah.
so we were doing uh easy, let's call it 13 times 5. We were doing 65 hours a day, and then it was going, or 65 hours a week, and then we were probably going another hour on top of that, just, so let's call it 68 hours a week and 5 days off. And there was no end in sight. It wasn't like we were surging and some help was coming. and
Yeah.
and so we ended up getting two reserve units to come in and support us,
Okay.
and then we went to 4 and 2 12s. So every day, every week, we had a different set of days off. But
Yeah.
my last year and change in Ramstein was 4 and 2 12-hour shifts.
Damn.
And
So
one
that.
day we messed up so bad they put us in mop gear and made us do a FOD walk after hours, after work.
Oh,
And this
that.
was after we'd been like balls to the wall, like working.
Oh my God. Did you ever watch Mandatory Fun Day on
Mm-mm,
TikTok?
mm-mm.
He's like he's
Hmm.
this guy that'll point, yeah, he'll point out all
Yeah,
those
yeah,
things.
yeah. He's, he hits a lot of it on the head.
Yeah.
And then there's some of it, right? Like, I mean, he's sarcastic, and I love the guy. I think he captures it almost 100%. But there's some things it's like, yeah, there's a backstory to that. I wish that we could talk about. But anyway, whatever. But yeah, man, that was it. Um, that was my first 2 years.
That's insane. That's insane for a barely, I guess you were 20 when that, after your first 2 years.
I turned
And
19 in 2001.
yeah.
So I was TDY 2 weeks before September 11th in Frankfurt, Germany. We had to shut down the Ramstein, Germany airbase flight line, and I was TDY. So yeah, I was 19 when September 11th happened.
Yeah. We were just talking about Omi a little bit, and then like, what happened with Putin and Russia
Hmm.
invading Ukraine, and that's what kind of brought everything down.
Right.
If Now I know hindsight is 2020. I know that the deal on the table in 2022 is likely going to be the deal on the table now, where Russia will take a decent amount of Western Ukraine. They'll officially take Crimea. And this could have all been avoided, these last 2 years of fighting and death. If you were a sitting president in 2022, would you have taken that deal that was on the table and forced Zelensky to take that? Or would you say, like, hey, we're just spending X amount of millions of dollars and we're keeping Russia's troops at bay, and it's not our troops that are fighting? or would you have stuck the course like Biden has done?
So that's a hard question. One, my global economics knowledge is not the greatest. Here's my belief, right? My belief is uh, uh, that everybody deserves help, right? When in my retirement speech, I don't know if you watched any of it or not, but helping somebody you have the capacity to help is the right thing to do. Now, I think we've helped far more than what our capacity has been Ukraine. Um, I supported the support of the country of Ukraine, but as far as like trying to get them to take a deal, I would have left that alone. Like some of that is uh that is not our business, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't know at what point I would have said I don't want to do this anymore as a country, like as a leader of the country, but the continued support that we're pouring into that nation, I think it needs to slow down. Right? It is not our interest. Now I believe um, there are some personal interest of high up people in the country in Ukraine, and that is part of the reason why we're still there, right? Um, but I think, and I want to say this too, right? When somebody reads on the news is like 152 billion, whatever it is, dollars that have been given to Ukraine, that's not that's not 100% accurate, right? So we have, let's say we have a communication device, right? And we have 40 of these communication devices in our positive control. We have these, right? But these now are obsolete to us. These are in our inventory. They're obsolete to you and me,
Yeah.
right? It's worth $100, but we don't use it anymore. It's obsolete, and selling it to the general public is not something that is allowed in our whatever contract we have.
Yeah.
So we take these 40 communication devices and we donate them. That's $4,000 worth of equipment, but it's not really $40,000 or
Yeah.
$4,000, right? And so when we say 150 billion or whatever the number is, I want to say I don't know what that is. A lot of that comes in way of equipment that it might have been valued at 150 billion, right? But it's really less than that. It's things that we're not using. It's overstock that we had in like our uniforms, our helmets. Now some of it is right, but like a javelin missile costs like $2,200 to pull the trigger one time. Now, if it costs that every time you replenish it, I get it. But anyway, I think my opinion, they need to figure that out, and or other countries that are worried about Putin over there need to figure it out too.
Yeah.
Um, and what I believe is that the worry of the Russian military that we had pre-Ukraine has drastically dwindled. They have proven that they don't have the capacity to do what we had assumed they could do based off of numbers and equipment, right? So,
Agreed.
but it is my opinion, Justin Bright, that uh, we need to stay out of it a little more than we have, right? I'll leave it at that.
Okay. So there is thousands of nukes that America has armed and ready to go. Same thing with Russia. Is as this conflict draws to an end, and hopefully we see peace either later this year or, if a new president gets elected, in January of next year. When that happens, do you think there should be a drawdown of active ICBMs, or do you think that, hey, this person's crazy? All it takes is one crazy person to start this, and we actually need to up it.
I don't know, right? That's like paying car insurance, right?
Mm.
You I've been in 3 accidents in the past 27 years I've been driving, but I've probably paid $180,000 in car insurance the whole time, right? So, do you want to put yourself in a position where you aren't capable of meeting aggression, or do you want to have your maintain a posture that says we're willing to do what is necessary, right? Now, I think pulling the trigger on a nuke is not necessary in any capacity. I think, but we're past that, right? There are
Yeah.
people like Putin, like the terrorist attacks that happened in Russia, the ISIS A or B or whatever the fuck they are.
Yeah.
There are people who are willing to execute extreme violence, and there's no measure to what that looks like, except for you carrying a bigger stick. And I think that is us maintaining the posture is saying we are willing to defend what we have. Um, that's with my limited knowledge of what we have in the inventory. So I would say we would have to maintain the posture.
I can agree to that. I see that. Speaking of the Russian bombing, or it wasn't Russia, it was like
It was a shooting
so-
in a Russian
concert.
concert hall.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was I don't know where the guys were from, or they're
They
from like,
claim to be ISIS, some version of ISIS, like ISIS B or something.
yeah,
They offer that operate in East or West Asia,
yeah.
right? Or
They,
East Europe. It just depends on what line they say they are, but it was more like Afghanistan, Kyrgyzstan, that area that Russia and some of it Syria that Russia has been involved in directly of keeping them out of whatever their interests are. That's
yeah,
who claimed to do it. I don't know any of the background other than that.
they, yeah, they had said something like that. They said they were contacted through Telegram from ISIS like themselves, and then so and the reason they got some of that information because they just, I don't know if you saw the videos on Twitter. They were tortured, like not enhanced interrogate. No, they were straight up tortured. One guy had a car battery on his genitals. One guy literally got put into a coma, like he
So
was standing
so
on trial.
The Russian FSB got a hold of these people?
Yeah.
Okay.
So one of them had like car battery on genitals. One guy got his leg shot. One guy got just beaten to a coma, and the other guy they like stabbed him with a knife X amount of times, and they auctioned off the knife. I was like, oh my god, savage. Um, when you see like you kind of expect that from someone like Russia, and in America had quite a bit of blowback with some of the enhanced interrogation techniques,
Mhm.
and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but clearly when Russia does it, that results, it happens,
Did
and they
they
get it.
get results from the interrogation?
Russia did this last 48 hours, yeah.
Are they proven results they led to other people captured, or is it results
um
on they just got intel? Because I wasn't tracking any of this.
half of it, or I don't know the percentages, but some of it was like they flipped and they got another guy, and the other stuff I think is just gathering intel. I don't know. 100% of it wasn't proven yet, but
Mm.
some of it was. When that happens, do you say like, hey, maybe America should kind of be more open to that, especially when it comes to intel gathering, or do you think like,
No.
hey, we don't want to lead to the fastest lie?
All right. You're a meat eater, right?
Yeah.
When's the last time you killed the food that you ate? When's the
I tried once and I was not successful.
Okay. So here's the problem, right? Is that the general public doesn't have the stomach to do what is necessary in extreme circumstances. Is torturing good? I don't want to get into that.
Yeah.
Right? Here's where me as a military member, I measure the cost of life and what I would be willing to do, right?
Mhm.
So if it was somebody who had the capacity to inflict great damage on myself, my family, or those that I love, I would be willing to go to great lengths that most people wouldn't want to go to in
Yeah.
order to stop that individual. And I think that analogy, right? Like being a meat eater and not ever having the ability to go through with ending the life in which you're going to consume, that mentality spills over into people thinking that war and counterterrorism is a simple thing. I believe it is not simple. It is sticky. Joe Rogan used that term, and I like it. It is a sticky situation that you can't just say you're on one side or the other, right? Um, and so I think that there are things that people need to understand are going to happen, and that at the bottom line, to try and say that it's in the best interest of us on this side of the border, it's in our best interest. When I say this side of the border, I mean our border of the continental
Mm.
United States, and
Yeah,
and the, it's in the best interest for everyone that it happens. To say that that is a fact is something that I mean, I'm never going to go in public office. Uh, I say never, but um, I think it is something that people need to understand will happen, and most likely will end up in the greater good of Americans being saved for it. But if it gets caught, it's an ugly situation that nobody's going to enjoy.
that's a that was a good point. That is a very good explanation for what I asked.
So
I also I wasn't planning to ask these questions. I guess I was.
it's fine.
Yeah, I know these are hard questions.
So
Uh,
I asked somebody. I want to bring it down, right? Like somebody, you know those Fairlife chocolate milks.
um,
Anyway,
no.
it's a chocolate milk. It's called Fairlife, and so Fairlife was in the news for how they treated their animals. I
Mm.
didn't know this
Yeah.
one way or the other. I don't. I mean, if they want to look it up, they can. But somebody at work, that females from, and it doesn't matter that she was female, but a person from Nevada who's lived in Vegas their entire life. They said, Fairlife, huh? And I said, this is single handedly the best chocolate milk that I've ever drank in my life. And I'll stand beside that. Fairlife chocolate milk, they have 25 grams of protein, they have 50% less sugar than any other chocolate milk on the market. And it is so good. And I said, "Have you ever had this?" And she goes, "No, I saw a video on them on how they treated their animals." And then I brought it up to the point. I was like, "Are you a mediator?" And the person responded, "Yes." And I said, "Well, have you ever ended the life of a meal of a thing you're going to consume?" And if you think about this, right? So this is now getting away from fair life, right?
Yeah.
If you think about, you raise a chicken and you feed this chicken, and every day that chicken has a good life because of you. There's no animals that torture it. There's nothing out. It has heat. It has water. It has companionship. And then the day in which you need that chicken to provide sustenance for your body, you create a swift and fatal action that ends the life of that chicken, where there's no suffering involved. The chicken ceases to exist, and then you consume the chicken. Okay. Well, if you're okay with consuming the chicken, if you're okay with consuming the chicken, then you need to find peace in your soul somewhere at being okay with ending the life of the chicken.
Mm. That's hard. I I guess I'm one of those cowards that, if I'm feeding this chicken every day and I'm like petting it, I can't. I can't. Even like chickens that I don't know, it's fine. But if I'm
You
building a
can't name it, man.
relationship,
You can't name the chicken.
yeah,
So
that's
I
true.
will say this, right? So, and I'll take it to a different direction, right? Like, I would highly encourage you to go hunting some point, right? You've never met this animal that you're hunting,
Yeah.
but you go hunting and you find this animal in the wilderness, and you, what they call it, you harvest this animal and then you consume this animal. It's not as big a deal when you're a single guy, but when you're providing for other people, and you're able to provide, and you know that that animal lived a healthy life, and that you are the reason that that animal is not alive anymore, but that animal is going on to another purpose, good or bad. I don't know how many people are going to hate me for this, but you know that that animal is going to go to another purpose, and which is going to be the sustainment of your family, your loved ones, people you care about. It's a little easier to pull the trigger.
Yeah, I mean, I tried once. I'm definitely open to do it. It's just the one time I tried, like hunting caribou in Vermont, it was like it was so cold, and like I would just it was boring. I like drank all the beer, and I just had to pee constantly.
So it
I just
wasn't that you had the. Did you have a shot?
no, there was nothing like
Oh,
all
okay.
day. I mean, we weren't out there all day. We were out there for like maybe like 5 hours, but I just wasn't a good time.
Hey, you know
It,
what?
mm,
So deer season in Texas is in November. If you're willing to commit to a weekend in Texas, uh, sometime in November,
okay,
I'll take you out there, and it may end up the same way. You may never see a deer, but at the same
yeah,
time, you may have the opportunity to pull the trigger. And if you don't, that's on you, man. And there's no judgment. I just believe, right, that fundamentally, that if you're willing to eat meat, you should at least be willing to end the life of the thing you're eating. And
yeah,
if you're not, then you need to think about it a little bit. Not just you, Randy, but I mean the public.
yeah. I put it in for the weekend of the 21st on November. That's
Oh, what is that? Hold on, I'm gonna look at it too. But
okay. Well,
so
Thanksgiving is the week after on
what
the
about
28th.
Veterans Day? Veterans Day
Veterans
weekend.
Day is Veterans Day is on the 11th. That's a Monday. So that night, that like the 8th and the 9th,
So
if
in
possible.
Texas, the first Saturday of November,
Hmm.
daylight. So you have to be able to count all the horns on the deer.
Okay.
Daylight, the first Saturday of November is the first day. And
Okay.
Veterans Day weekend, that's 8, 9, 10, 11. That might be
Yeah.
a little easier for me. But if you
Okay.
can't, you said the 21st.
So
Let's
no,
keep it open,
that'd be
and
fine.
um, we can meet down in Dallas and take a road trip down to where I'm from, and set up a couple of days down there.
Yeah, I just couldn't do the 15th. I'll be in Vegas that week,
Okay.
and then I wouldn't be able to do and the week after the 21st, 20th, that's Thanksgiving. So that's likely nobody would be able to do.
What
But yeah, I
about
could do
8,
the
9,
8th.
10?
Yeah, I could totally do that.
All right, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then I'll try to see if I can get it, and then we'll see if we can't get you in front of a deer that you might want to shoot or just watch, which is
Yeah.
fine. I mean, just
I mean,
watch them.
I'd love to. Like, I've never done it before. I'd love to just the process of it. Like I've seen hunting videos on like TikTok, and they show you how to like cut it, and they show you how to harvest it all, and it seems cool. I really want to make jerky. That seems.
So when I'm done with a deer,
Hmm,
uh, the bones, the bones, and really like the internal organs is the things that I don't. I mean, obviously the eyes I don't use, but the bones and the feet are the only things that don't get left. Right, like everything gets processed from that animal.
yeah,
Um, and so I mean, and that's like a wicked truth. I would assume that some other people find issue with that as well, but um, I'd be willing to have a honest debate with somebody who didn't have an emotional connection to it. It wasn't emotionally charged with anybody. But anyway,
yeah. That sounds great. As we're getting into this, there's a little bit of a shift that I saw just in my 4 years in the military, where when I first got in, everyone would go and be like, okay, where's the party at tonight? Where are we drinking? Where are we going? And then when I kind of noticed a little bit before I left for deployment, but when I got back from deployment, there were still some people that partied, but a lot of the newer, younger generation was just like staying in their rooms and playing video games, which I like too. You know, that's fun. Half my arm is video
right.
games, but um, it seemed like in that short time, the people had changed a little bit. I imagine in your nearly quarter of a century career that people had changed at even greater period. Where did you see the biggest change in the new airmen?
Well, so I was a class mentor for one of the leadership. Let me take this hat off. It bother me. I was a class mentor for one of the leadership courses we had, and somebody brought this up, and and it was funny that they wanted to talk about the next generation, right? And so I think a generation is considered every 10 to 15 years, right? So, um, I'm on three generations of the Air Force, right? Like three
Mhm.
different generations behind me, and I know shit. My first chief in the Air Force had a Vietnam service ribbon, so you can stay 30 years, right?
Yeah.
And I came in 2000. We were sending people to Vietnam all the way up until 75.
Yeah.
So he was in Vietnam, I think, 74. And so the people have changed after me. So there's a lot of problem. There's a lot of context in this, right? Like, so I don't know how to say this without without not being appropriate, but and it's the right thing to do, right? So you know what locker room talk is?
Yeah.
You
Just
consider
like
locker
guys
room
being
talk,
guys, but like guys
guys
being
being
guys.
dumb
Like,
shits, right? Like
yeah.
that's guys hang out in the parking lot of the softball field and they say dumb shit, right? Majority of what they say is either them beating their chest or trying to get a laugh out of their buddy, right?
Yeah.
But most of them most people understand that that's not appropriate for every day. I believe this is 100%. I believe locker room talk has no business at work at all, right? And and when that was really enforced, I would say do the folks know where you were at? Can I talk about it? Where we
Yeah.
met?
Yeah.
We
McGuire
met
Air
in
Force Base
Jersey.
for the most part.
Yeah, we met in New Jersey. When you showed up was really a changing a shift in the United States Air Force, right? Like there used to be Men's Health, Maxim magazine.
Yeah.
Maxim is just not even a men's health magazine. It's one below on Playboy, right?
Yeah.
They've got the ladies in there. In fact, after this, I don't think I've seen a Maxim magazine since this happened. But we weren't allowed to have those types of magazines at work, and you would see those everywhere, right? And that was really just enforcing this. This is not a place for this material, right?
Yeah.
Like sexually charged material, and so um, that shift really came in. It coincided with a drinking culture that
Mm.
those of us that came in and were part of a drinking culture. When I came in, we're gonna drink and we're gonna have a fun time, but we're all gonna make sure people's got rights. Right? So and that led to we're going to overdo it, but as long as we don't do anything illegal, we're
Mhm.
okay, right? But overdoing it's still the same, right? Like
Yeah.
we had two softball teams in Germany. One of them was the base softball team and they played all over Europe. And then we had our softball team was no shit called the Beer Nuts, and we had 2 30 racks of beer in the dugout, and we were drinking every time we came in the dugout. And then that would spill over to the parking lot, and we were all hungover all the time. And
Yeah.
and that led to dumb decisions, right? Majority of us made it home safe, but it led to dumb decisions. But it
Yeah.
also encouraged, in my opinion, the locker room talk and that shift of being in a like people can't not be inappropriate, then we're not gonna facilitate their ability to not be inappropriate.
Yeah.
I think that's where that came from, in my opinion. When that happened, and I don't know if you remember this in McGuire, 3310. You remember those big banners? 3310.
Vaguely. Yeah.
Yeah, so no more than 3 drinks. 3133, I think, or something like that. 1 drink an hour, not to exceed 3 drinks in a 3 hour period, and 0 drinks if you drive. Right. So I
Mm.
think it was 3130 or something like that. When that started, right? And it was like, hey, and then it became like almost bad. It was almost shunned to drink on base. So all of the things, the places that we used to have drinking at, right? The base club, the softball fields, that all kind of stopped.
Mm.
And and then it was like this generation, I would say the generation after yours came in, and there wasn't like, even you come in, you're 18, you play softball and you hang out with the guys and the gals that don't that play softball, but they don't, you can't drink. So guess what? You're the guy who's going to drive everybody around. But you're
Yeah.
part of the team, right? You're part of the team and you're gonna do your part, right? And so all of that kind of dissolved, and then it led to a generation who's used to being on a video game. My son has more friends online in Xbox and
Mhm.
Fortnite than he does in real life. I don't want to say it. I don't. I mean, he's got plenty of people that he hangs out with at school, but he has more people he talks to online than he does at school.
Same.
That generation has found its way into the military, and trying to get them to be part of a community is a very difficult thing.
How do you feel about AI going and accelerating young people's not aversion, their likeness toward solitude and their likeness toward being alone and just going inward instead of outward?
Well, how is AI doing that? You mean like having an AI friend that talks to you?
That's part of it. Like so, Chat GPT, for example. Like if I wanted to talk to somebody that had, let's just say like military friends are all working, they're deployed or whatever, and I just wanted to
Mhm.
talk military talk with someone, I could say, "Hey, Chat GPT, uh, answer every question in the perspective of somebody that had served between the years of 2006 and 2020, whatever." And then you could go and ChatGPT would answer like that and be like, "How'd you feel about this?" And um, I've never done that exact thing, but I've done it where like, okay, I want to nerd out with someone. ChatGPT, can you can you answer every question as if you're Vision from the MCU?
Uh-huh.
In the perspective of that, and like I've done that as opposed to getting back to emails or text messages or video requests, whatever. Um,
Well,
so in that way, sometimes it's an escape from reality.
well, yeah, for sure. What was the original question again?
How do you feel about AI and in general, and then also AI while it's making people kind of go in, the younger generation go inward and
Mm.
being more isolated?
Well, I've used AI several times. I use it for my retirement speech. I use
Yeah.
it for a commencement speech. So I used AI for uh, a leadership graduation commencement speech. Now I wrote was like, hey, I want to write a commencement speech for military graduation for leaders, and I want to do it in the mindset of this. And then so I've used it, right? I've never had a conversation with it. I think the difference between me and the person who does that is that, so I don't know. I can't even speak from the perspective. We are social creatures, right? And I think the more that people are afraid, or the more people resist having their feelings hurt, the more uh susceptible they are to an anxiety or a disorder. Um because they makes them so risk adverse that they choose to not even attempt. Now, this is from personal experience with my son, and this is from a little bit of research and a little bit of personal experience as a military first sergeant. So, the research to back this up, right? There's a guy, his name is Michael Easter, and he wrote a book called The Comfort Crisis. I think he's got 2 or 3 books out now. But if I could encourage anybody who's listening to this to read a book, this is an 8-hour read. I'm a slow reader, and it was a
Okay.
9-hour read for me. Michael Easter, The Comfort Crisis. And it talks about us as humans. All we've tried to do throughout our entire 180,000 years on this planet is to be comfortable, right? We have now reached the zenith, in my opinion, of comfortability, that we are now looking for altered reality, right? We live every day, most of us live every day in a house that is kept within the temperature of 68 to 72. We know where all of our meals are coming from. We have jackets, we have everything we need to keep us warm and fed. All of our was it Maslow's hierarchy of needs are being met, to the
Yeah.
point now we're focusing on friends, right? And now instead of finding a guy who's going to have a counter idea, or a counter argument to my idea, I'm going to find a person or a thing that will tell me everything I want to hear,
Yeah.
right? But that just it's a dangerous thing for somebody to avoid being around other people, right? And so the comfort crisis is talks about us as humans trying to be comfortable at all costs, that we are losing a part of our mental capacity to be uncomfortable.
Agreed. I I I feel like there's some people that take it a little too far. Where
Mhm.
in 2021, 2022, I like didn't have a bed, and I was like, yeah,
I want to
I
hear
just
this. Where did you sleep?
I had a mattress, but it was just like on the floor, and
Uh-huh.
because I was like, I don't know, I like not torture, I like maybe it's like a sadomasochism. It's not that. It's just I like things that are hard, and when I feel that my back is up against the wall, that's when I do my best work.
That's fair.
And um, so I do love that. I do like feeling uncomfortable, but for spurts at a time. I
Well,
don't like to go and
in
and do
this
that
book,
forever.
Michael Easter, he interviews a couple of guys, and one of these people talked about. I'm gonna mess this up, but it's a Japanese thing called uh spirit bathing. I think it's called a misogi. While we're talking, I'm gonna look this up.
Okay.
But basically, it's going on a personal journey to endure with the specific intent to endure something very difficult challenge,
Okay.
understanding that there is significant personal growth on the other end, right? It's not that you live on the floor in a freezer, but can you be uncomfortable with it a little bit and be okay with it?
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference between the new generation, the generation you're talking about that is using AI to support um their social needs, right? And being and doing that is all well and good. I'm going to look it up. I think I'm going to try it and just see what it looks like. But still being uncomfortable for the purpose of being uncomfortable. I'm going to use an example. I have some claustrophobia.
Mhm.
It's not horrible. I get in an elevator. It's not fine. It's fine. But I went and had a CAT scan. Is that where they put you in the tube?
Yeah.
I think I went and had a CAT scan. I had to get my shoulder CAT scan. Well, I'm a big dude, man. I'm 300 pounds now, and I went in this tube. This tube wasn't my shoulders touched anyway, but they had to isolate my shoulder, so they put me in this brace, and it squeezed me in, and this arm was locked down, and I was stuck in there and I was hyperventilating because what's funny is I knew the front behind like my head was open and I knew where
Yeah.
my toes were open, but I couldn't see it. And
Yeah.
inside I was losing control. And I had to talk myself off that ledge. This is like and putting myself in this situation, I understood that one, I'm not gonna always be in control. And two, how do I handle that situation when I'm not in control, right? And that let me learn something about myself, and then pursue other opportunities to be a little uncomfortable, so I'm okay, where I'm not mentally just distraught about it.
There's I have a little bit of claustrophobia as well. Elevators are fine, and a lot of packing into things are fine. It's just like an underground thing. Like there was one time I was at like the zoo or something where you could like go. It wasn't even underground. It was just like this little like molehill building that was made, and they dug it out, and you
Uh
could
huh.
go in, you could crawl in, and you could pretend like you're a little mole, and there's little. You can't go out because it's covered. I guess they cover it so that rain doesn't get in. But
Hmm.
I got like stuck in there because I was a little big, and I got in, but I couldn't get out, and I was like, oh god, oh god, oh god. So I to try to like test. I've never done cave diving. Have you seen that?
So when
With
you say dude, that's intense.
yeah,
No, I couldn't do that.
I
There's
could
no,
not do that either.
so I did a challenge. It was like a commander and a first sergeant challenge where we partnered up with our commander and it was a firefighter. It was like firefighter week, and
Mhm.
we had to navigate an obstacle course where I was in a 2 by 2 box, and I had a mask on, and a oxygen tank on my back, and I was trying to navigate through this 2x2 box in the dark,
Oh,
and it, it was everything I could do to not lose my shit and tell them to come and get me. Right? I was in my own headspace. Um, but then at the end of it, we walked through the terminal. We walked through everything, and they have a culvert. You know what a culvert is? It's like a
no.
drainage pipe.
Okay.
So it's like maybe a 2.5 foot, maybe 3.5 foot diameter or radius, where it was just enough space for a human being with a pack with a oxygen tank on to slide in, and they had to navigate in the dark 10 feet, a right angle turn 10 feet, and then another right angle turn and 10 feet and come out. And I was like, there's no way. I couldn't get in the headspace I needed to be to get in there. And the
Yeah.
guy's like, oh, you could do it. And I was like, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, that's one of my phobias. So I purposely find ways to be uncomfortable that, in my mind, help me be okay with it. Okay, misogi, Mysogi, and it is uh that's misogyny. That's not what I want. I have to keep looking. All right.
Okay. So on the newer kids outside of I do feel like there was this not like an epidemic or something, but I feel like there was a wave of wokeness where the pendulum kind of swung really far to the left, like more than it should have. And I think the pendulum's finally going to slowly swing back.
I don't think we're there.
You don't think we've gone as far left as we
No,
could have?
there are kids in Massachusetts that are being allowed to wear fuzzy ears and tails and allowed to say that they are identify as cats and dogs in school. Those kids, those
Yeah,
kids are going to get out of school and go do something.
that's
And maybe that's not even the worst, but I don't think we're away from the pendulum swinging too far from one side or the other.
I
Um, because that generation, right? Everybody who goes to school with them has to are being taught that that's okay, right?
yeah,
And I don't even want to get into uh, a a pre-teenage kid being able to decide whether they are or not a male,
yeah,
or talk about what binary means. I don't want to talk about that.
yeah.
But for a child to show up to school and identify, oh, you have to call me a puppy, and every time I answer a question, I get to say woof. Woof means yes. Somebody asks me a question and I say woof.
Oh my God.
You have to accept me for that. And other kids are living that. So the people who, even the children that aren't identifying as puppies and cats, I believe that that generation is going to have to get through this. And so I don't
Yeah.
know. I just, for that purposes, I don't think the pendulum is done swinging out.
Mm,
Okay. The word misogi comes from a Japanese Shinto practice of ritual purification. In the ritual, the participants wash their bodies in sacred waterfalls, lakes, and rivers. But more recently, the word misogi means difficult challenges in nature. The aim is to clean off the contamination caused by modern conveniences. And so, what you were talking about, right? Trying to test yourself every once in a while
yeah.
is to go out and do something very difficult. But in doing so, you're going to learn something about yourself,
Yeah.
and there's going to be personal growth. Hey, look at who's that?
Oh, these are my friends. This is Courtney and this is Mike. Okay, well, we'll put the camera this way. You're good, Mike. Um, so yeah, I do like to go and test myself in those ways. Living without air conditioning or going. I mean, it's been less and less over the years.
Mhm.
Because over the years I've had I like the comforts of
Oh, we all do.
yeah,
It's enjoyable, right? Like
great.
waking up in a soft bed. My bed, my bed fluctuates to my body. and the pressure points, right? Like I went on a 3-day hike on the Appalachian Trail, and I slept in a hammock because, like, I've got bad knees and bad hips. Like, I've had 3 knee surgeries. Before I was 38 years old, I had 3 knee surgeries.
Yeah.
So I got bad hips and bad hips and bad knees. And I knew I couldn't sleep on the ground, but I carried a, camping or a backpacking hammock, and it shrunk up to this, and I slept great. And I'll tell you what, man, I slept great on nights 2 and 3 like I've never slept in the past 15 years. I, I had good sleep when I was deployed, which is weird, but anyway.
Yeah. So on the Appalachian Trail, like there's a lot of suspected supernatural stuff that goes on there. Did you experience any of that, or was it just like the occasional hoot from an owl or bear roar?
Well, again, so I grew up in the woods, right? Like
Yeah.
I 500 acres in the middle of the country. Also, like I understand what it's like to have zero sound pollution, which I don't think many people can
Yeah.
understand that. The Appalachian Trail didn't happen like that to me, but I did have a pretty I like weird experience, right? So um I slept on a hammock, which means my buddy who went with me, he was camping he was camping in a meadow, and I had to leave the meadow and go into the tree line to find uh trees to put my hammock up. And I ended up going in there about 30 to 40 yards before I found trees that were far enough apart and that were big enough to manage my hammock system, my camping system, right? Uh what is that? Gambit IFG.
I think it's been Gambit. Let's freaking go. Because the
Oh,
new X-Men cartoon has
oh,
come out, and I guess Gambit did something cool in the recent episode.
nice.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
Um so anyway, we're probably 75 yards apart by the
Yeah.
time where he set up his site and where I set up mine. Well, I'm in a canopy, a jungle, like a forest canopy, and we're 30 miles from asphalt, right? And I some point in the night, I saw a guy peek through my hammock. Like this is what I saw. So I wake up and I yelled out, "Who's there?" When I did that, I heard a bunch of leaves and stuff like scattering across, right? At this point, I kind of take stock of what's going on around me, and I understand that what I yelled in my head was "Who's there?" But what I said was "Who there?" Right, which is what it sounds like when you're talking in your sleep.
Yeah.
But it was so dark, Randy. I'm telling you, the darkest I've ever experienced in my life because I'm inside the forest on
Yeah.
a very dark night. So I had zero light. My eyes are wide open, and I I can't see anything. And I have to now work through in my mind what's going on. So I did recognize that I wasn't able to say who's there properly, which led me to believe what I was experiencing was a dream. But I did for a fact hear something run across the leaves. And at this point, I'm thinking it was an animal. I know that, right? Because a human on 2 feet that makes a very specific run.
Yeah.
This was like an animal on 4 legs moving away. Had to have been like a raccoon or something like that, like maybe a squirrel.
Yeah.
But still, that effed with my head, and I was like, I'm just gonna sit here. And I carried a sidearm with me wherever when I was out there, and it was specifically for bear because we were in northern Vermont in the summertime where black bear and brown bear are very very prominent. So I was like, I got to get out of this tent. I can't just lay here.
Yeah.
So I get out of this tent, and I have a flashlight and I have a pistol, and I come out of this tent and I'm looking around and I'm taking stock of what's going on, and everything around me seems like it should be. Um, I use the restroom and I turn around and I come back, and a piece of my tent that I had tied, not looped, tied to the tree, a piece of it was laying on the ground like 20 feet away. And I'm doing what you're doing right now. And I was like, what? And this is 2 o'clock in the morning. Again, we're 30 miles from asphalt. We're about like hard hike. If I was to not have a pack, it's probably a 3 hour trip back to my truck. But
Oh,
it's black out, dark outside.
yeah.
And I was like, I'm not even gonna go and look in and see what it is. I'm just getting back in my hammock. But then it was like, it's not even a hard shelter, dude. It's a hammock, and whatever's out here can get you. And so I walk over, and I don't know if you know what have you ever seen birch tree?
I'm sure, but I can't.
Birch tree
I
is a
can't picture it.
very, very light gray bark, and it peels off in big sheets, like sheets of paper. And when I get over to it, I walk over to it, and on the ground is a birch bark. It's not the piece of my tent that I thought I'd tied up. This was all
Okay.
in my head.
Okay, so that wasn't your tent line on the ground.
No, it was
Okay.
all in my head. But this was just to go to talk about what, like, my experience on the Appalachian Trail. It wasn't supernatural. It was all my mind went way further than I wanted it to go, and I allowed it to manifest fears that weren't relevant in the moment, if that makes sense. And I
Yeah.
believe I'm going to be honest with you. I don't believe in the supernatural like most people believe in supernatural. I believe in spirits. I believe in I believe in something after this life is over. I'm not going to say a heaven or a hell, but I believe there's something spiritual that happens to our souls when we depart this earth. But I don't believe in ghosts going around and fucking haunting and using hate to make my life worse.
No.
Um, and that's just me. I would love to have a conversation with anybody who that's not emotionally charged. But based off of my experience, I would assume that most people allow their mind to control the situation.
Yeah.
And when you don't know what something is, right? Like, this is science. When you see something that you've never seen before, your brain automatically tries to associate it to something that you know exists, right?
Yeah. That's why we
And
see
so
faces everywhere.
right. And so that happens with everything, right? It happens with and so I believe that my experience is probably what happens to most people on the Appalachian Trail.
Yeah. I mean, one, I don't think I would actually sleep that one. I'm part of the reason why I haven't really gone hunting again in the northeast or anywhere in the north is I am scared of bears. I know, we whether you even have a sidearm, a rifle, whatever, um, and then maybe that gives you a fighting chance. But bears are very scary, and I feel like I've come too far in my life to have it ended by a fucking bear.
Yeah,
Um,
that's fair.
yeah. So,
That's fair.
but Texas, I mean, I guess warthogs can mess you up, right?
Yeah, so I don't want to talk about it here, but the type of hunting we're doing, we're not gonna be struggling if you
Okay,
go hunting with me.
sounds good.
We're gonna sleep in a bed every night. We're gonna have a
Oh,
heater.
okay. I mean, I don't mind actually camping. I just don't want to, like, have it like visitors from woodland creatures and like Pocahontas is fine, but bears are, yeah.
I would love Pocahontas to come visit me when I'm sleeping. Maybe.
Wouldn't we all? I have yeah, so that's part of the reason why I think when you interviewed me, you asked if we'd ever gone to Peru, and I haven't. And part of that reason is because I don't want to get intimate with a local and then find out somehow I'm related. So,
What the fuck?
because I don't know.
That's a valid fear. That's a valid concern. We'll call it a concern. That's not even a fear. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So
But
I'll,
so just go to Peru and don't get intimate.
yeah, but if you're gonna be, smoking peyote or ayahuasca in the mountains of Machu Picchu, you're gonna want a
I
little
mean,
a little sugar
why?
mama right next to
Yeah,
you.
yeah, right. You're gonna want some loving.
Yeah. Whenever I hear that phrase, "want some love," I think of there's a Netflix special where George Clooney is like just like a dad, and it's supposed to be like Christmas Eve, and they're putting out the Christmas presents, and he says to his wife, "Santa Claus wants some loving," because it's George Clooney as Santa Claus, and it
Right.
was a very weird Christmas special. I don't know why I remember it. It's
That's
not that
funny.
good.
That's funny.
Yeah. So we've gone on about an hour. Let's anything you want to talk about before we end it, and then we'll talk off camera for a bit.
Oh, well, you'd said you wanted to get me in front of the camera for talk about what I'm doing now, like my Adomus leadership stuff.
Oh yeah, let's go. So you obviously have a long list of accomplishments and a long
Yep.
list of credentials leading for this. Tell us what is the most important thing about leadership and why you're starting this, and what people can benefit from if they go and get your course.
So what's the most important thing about leadership? Well, if you have to use one word, I would say humility, right? Like on this journey that people are taking in life,
Mhm.
and if you find them in your capacity as a leader, got to understand that what's brought them to you is probably not what brought you to this position in your life, right? So understanding that while there may be a certain set of rules and accountability that needs to happen, there can be some prudence involved in supporting that individual, right? I believe that a leader's job is to support the individuals who are executing the job, right? Like, um, so in my research, uh, most leadership consultants sit with the COO, the CFO, the
Yeah,
CEO, and help these people be better strategic thinkers, right? And those people, the C-suite is what it's called, right? You have the CFO, the CEO, so the chief financial officer, chief operations officer, the chief people officer, the chief technical officer, the chief executive officer, right? There's a couple others in there. That
yeah,
C-suite team, they're the people who are deciding strategic decisions for long-term success of this company, right? And they're going to put in place a culture that fits with their widget. But the problem, the challenge is that their culture that they want is being maintained by that frontline supervisor, that person who may have not ever been in a leadership capacity before.
yeah,
Let's say, Randy, let's say you're a marketing guru and you've been marketing for the last 10 years and uh you understand the ins and outs of marketing and you know how to get somebody to buy something. But you've never led more than two people in your life. But you're the next on the line to run a marketing division. With your experience, it would make sense for you to be in charge of 15 people.
yeah,
But you've never led more than three and you've never been to school for it. You've never been to train for it. So all you have, tell me what you have in front of you. What do you have as experience? What is the blueprint for you to be a leader? It's the person that's come before you, whether that was good or bad, plus your desire to lead people, right? So my job, I founded Adomus Leadership Consulting as a with the specific purpose to develop frontline and middle line managers who have never been in leadership positions but are really good at what they do, and to be able to help them understand that leading people is a technical skill as much as coding or as um, writing software or engineering, right? It takes a different part of your brain to engage to be a leader of people than it does to be able to execute some technical ability. And my company's purpose is to develop leaders. So we I have a 3-day system. There's several different options in that, right? One option is just emotional intelligence, understanding that people receive and deliver information differently, right? And so just because I get information differently than you doesn't make me better or worse than you. But if I as a leader can understand how you prefer to have information delivered, if I can understand that at a fundamental level, I can speak to you and get you to motivate you to move forward and do things with less resistance. Now, this isn't about manipulation. This is about, like, you show up every day, you come here because you want a job, you came here because you want work. And so now you want work and I have a task that needs to be done. So I have to be able to get you to do the task. I can communicate to you in a manner that is inhuman, that is task oriented, or that is that has some humility to it. It just depends on how you receive information, right? So if you come to me and you say, "Hey, give us the bare basics, Justin. We just want to talk. We just want to refresh some folks," then I have a 2 to 4 hour course that we do on emotional intelligence, and then the next level up from that is the 4 to 6 hour course, emotional intelligence. We follow that up every 30 days for 90 days on, hey, where are you struggling, where are you winning at, how can we help you connect dots that you weren't connecting before. And then eventually what I want to get to, I'm working with course writers within the Air Force and course developers within the Air Force. I want to develop a 3-day course. The first day is emotional intelligence. Day 2 is focusing on servant leadership. What does it mean to be a servant leader? What does it mean to be a humility first, humble first leader? And then day 3, wrap that up in critical thinking and enable your marketing graduate, your software engineer graduate, your financial graduate, and enable them with critical leadership skills, critical decision making skills that will empower them to make leaders or to make decisions as a leader and not a singular focus like finance,
Yeah.
technology, or marketing. So that's my vision. Adomusleadership.com.
That sounds like you have to wear a lot of hats, and it sounds like you have to be a therapist and a dad and a friend, and it just sounds like a lot to cover in
You
a
have
couple. Do
to
you have
care
any?
about people, right?
Yeah.
Now, when I say by care, I'm not going to take Randy's problems and make them my problems. But what I can do is, if Randy's mom's in the hospital because she's undergoing her second round of chemo, what I can do is I can understand that impacts his ability to perform. And what I'd be like, you know what, Randy? Hey, I'm going to cover the last 2 hours of shift. Why don't you go take care of your mom? You know,
Yeah.
and that 2 hours a shift is 2 hours of my time. That's 30-second engagement with Randy. And that's a buy-in with Randy for future commitment to a problem.
Yeah.
Right? Now, if you want to look at this with only the human aspect of it, right? Like, well, if I give him 2 hours now, he's going to give me something later. That's the wrong way to look at it.
Yeah.
But the whole concept is we work together, right? And I'm going to do 2 hours for Randy. So someday he's going to put more into it when he's here, right? And so it's not as much about being a human or being a people person as it is just understanding that just having just genuine compassion 10x into your company, into your role.
That sounds so. How do you go and determine, hey, this person is worth doing this for because they're a good person? And then how do you determine, like, this person is just a taker and
So
they
what
are.
so ideally what's going to happen is, right, like, let's say you're CEO of RRC, Real Randy Chavez LLC, RRC LLC. You tell me you got a team of 25 people, and you really want to get them on the same page. All right, what are your concerns? You give me your top 5 concerns. I'm going to try to address 3 of them. And I'm going to wrap these concerns in in the emotional intelligence piece of what I do, right? So let's just say top three concerns. Let's see, the number one concern is accountability. I have a hard time getting people to own their mistakes, right? Okay. And then I have people who can't communicate properly, and pick another problem. Just give me another problem.
Addiction. Someone's I'm just thinking of the guys I funded, people in construction. A lot of their workers are alcoholics, or they're on drugs, or they have gambling problems.
Okay, well, I can't focus on the addiction problem of the individual,
Okay.
right? But what I will do is I'm going to talk about your people being accountable to each other, and then your communication. Was that the second problem? Was
Yeah.
communication. All right. So now we do our emotional intelligence. We talk about how people communicate, right? I can tailor that delivery to communication and accountability, right? And so when I do that, right, we're going to talk about these two things. We're going to talk about emotional intelligence, but we're going to deliver it through accountability and communication. And then you're going to get my number, and you know what? I'm going to follow up. I'm going to give you a day for the every one day every month for the next 3 months. You got a question, Randy, you call me. If something's not working out the way you thought it should, if you got a question on how to apply this that I gave you, you call me, we'll talk through it. This is no charge. This comes like I want to help you be successful. You call me and we'll work through whatever it is that you're having a problem with.
Okay. And do you have any longer courses? It seems like this might be a lot for 3 days.
No,
Do you have
so
any?
so I right now all I got is I got a 2 to 4 hour course, a 3 to 6 hour course. If you were to go on my website, Diamond or Adomus Leadership. So if you don't mind, I would like to talk about the name. I
Sure.
don't know how long you want to go. I don't have shit to do because I'm retired now. but and but right now I have until the 3 day course comes out. All I got is the 2 to 4, the 3 to 6, and then the diamond course. The is an 8 hour day with me, and that includes a team building session that
Okay.
I plan and facilitate for your people to go out and like legit like amazing race style do a team building event, applying the things that they've learned in my office or in the room with me. Um, I don't have anything else other than that. So 5 years from now, my goal is 5 years from now, Adamas leadership is 100% supporting itself without outside investors and supporting me without having to do another job on the side. And then 10 years from now, we're a namesake in the corporate world in developing leaders that, especially the leadership that you're looking for that doesn't get taught in the college, of the marketing individual, the finance individual, the technology individual, the engineer.
Give me 12 to 15 months, and if you need it, I could likely be an investor.
Well,
That
so right now I'm fully invested. I've poured
okay.
all of this on my own. So what I really need is help. If it's just you and me talking, right? What I need help with is I don't understand how to break out into this, right? Like most all of my competition, all of them are are teaching the C-suite. How do I market myself to the C-suite to teach the individuals you want to build together?
Oh, I could get you a good amount of clients. So a lot of these companies that ask me all the time, like, "Hey, Randy, make a video for me on this company, and we'll give you $1,000." And most of these companies are trash. And I would go in and I would say, like, "Hey, before I do this, because I don't believe in the product that you don't have yet working, you don't have a good run rate,
Right.
whatever." I'd be like, "Let me see your books and show me the leadership." And then I would say, like, "Hey, take this person's class. Show me that you have good leadership. Show me that the people that are working for you have somebody they have a discerned leader, somebody that knows that leadership isn't just a badge that you wear into battle, or in this case, wear at work, but it's a badge that you wear constantly."
Yep.
And then I'll go in and I'll make a video for it. I have a bunch of people that would be able to go in.
Did you check out my website?
I did. It was I know
Was
you posted that on
the one that's on? Was it the one that I asked people to give me updates on, or was it the one that I went live with?
it was the one on Facebook. You posted it on Facebook. I don't know which
Was
one
it last week or like a month ago?
Yeah, it was like 4 days ago. Yeah.
Yeah, that one's. Was there anything in there that you didn't like?
I think I commented on it. It was, yeah, it said part. Oh no, it wasn't.
It's
It
fine. We can
was.
talk about this offline. It's fine.
Oh no,
But
it just had to do with, it might have been like a month ago where like either the links weren't working or it looked
right,
like there
that's
should be
fixed.
links.
So
Yeah,
so
and then the font of it was just like off.
and that was great information. Almost everybody said that. So
Yeah,
what I did one, I'm gonna advertise Zen Business. It is supported by Mark Cuban. I think he was on Shark Tank.
yeah,
He's part owner in Zen Business. I paid $900. I got an LLC. All of my tax documents were written for me. All of things were filed for me in my state. Everything was done, and that came with a website. But I had to design the website in my own. And
yeah,
so what I did was I did a little bit and I shared it with some friends. I did a little bit more. I shared it with other friends. I did it to the point where I thought I was ready to go live with it, and I shared it on Facebook and said, "Hey, help me out." And overwhelmingly, I didn't even think about this. Right? Most people are going to look at this on their phone. They're not looking at this as the computer in which I'm designing it. And so on the phone, it looks completely different than it did on the computer, which um is great help. A lot of people said the same thing about the font. But anyway, I went on there, I changed a lot of the things to make it look better on the phone. Um and then I went live with it. I was like, I can't sit on this anymore. So I pushed it
yeah,
back to the funding, right? I'll take whatever support I can get. Um, but right now what I need is I need somebody to have faith in me, right? Like I need somebody to give me a shot because the reviews that are on on my website are real reviews. I've done this for free for a couple of different companies, like at cost. I didn't get anything out of it. I just didn't lose anything. And all the reviews are 100% 100 are genuine. Those are real people, William and Heather and somebody else. But I just need somebody. I need a company to give me a shot to come in and develop the leaders that they have, or develop a team. Right? Like, let's just say you got a team of 15, and you want everybody to be like have better team communication.
yeah.
Well, that 2.5 hour course that is 100% designed to help with team dynamics. Can I talk about the name really quick, or you think
Yeah, yeah,
everybody's
no.
done?
Yeah, no, we got time.
Okay, so can you share a screen?
Yeah, yeah. Post something up, and I'll be able to go and.
All right, hold on a second. Let me see if I can pull my website up here. So we I don't know why, but in the military, in the U.S. military, we have a lot of Latin quotes, right?
Mhm.
So, um, I was like, okay, pause. The first sergeant in both in the Marines, the Air Force, and the Army, they um we all wear a diamond, right? It's some sort of diamond on our chevrons.
Yeah,
And so I was like, I wanna pay homage to where I've gotten this experience, right? I'm gonna change this here because I want to pay homage to that heritage. And so because we use Latin, almost all of our patches have a Latin quote on there. Like right now, the squadron I retired from, Vince aut more, uh, is a Latin quote. Almost every patch I've ever had a Latin quote on it. And I was like, all right, what is Latin word for diamond? Well, the Latin word for diamond, it's same as Greek. It is Adomus. And if in Greek, if you were going to say diamond, you would say Adomus. But if you were going to say this thing is indestructible, you would also use the word Adomus. And so um, Adomus is synonymous with diamond and indestructible. So I designed I took the name Adomus Leadership and say indestructible leadership for unknown scenarios, right?
Yeah.
I've been
So I
drinking
saw
a
you,
little bit,
you
but
post that in the private chat.
you may put it
If
out
you were
here.
to bring it up on like another tab on your computer,
Yeah, I got it.
then I should be able to.
It's on my computer. What do you need from me?
Um, I'm not sure. Usually when it just something will come up like right below your right next to your picture, and I'll
Oh,
be able to add to stream.
oh, it says connect to comment. It says YouTube connect.
Maybe try that and then
All
see
right.
if that works. And then if that works, I'll be able to share it. Yeah, but I'm just not seeing anything.
That's all right.
Yeah, it's all good.
Sorry about that. I didn't know that was. I was sitting here looking at the private chat. It's like, man, people are quiet this time.
Oh, I mean, we got other stuff, but that's not the private chat. West End Grizzly Bears are apex predators. people people ask me to stream a white paper release for Earth 2, which I might do that when that happens. There's a couple things that didn't exactly go with the conversation, like buying a Fantastic Four #1 secret rare and and all
See,
that.
I'm trying to log into my YouTube on here.
We do love our Grizzly Bears, but the Grizzly Bears do not apologize nor ask permission to be a
So
bear.
I will say this: that one of my because we all have fears, right? One
Mm.
of my most like unrealistic fears, something that I shouldn't be afraid of, is being eaten alive. Like I see these nature videos, and people are like seeing the animals being like this lion is consuming that, and it's still breathing. That
Yeah,
scares the shit out of me. So I can identify like the with the
getting attacked by a grizzly.
yeah, like bear, but brown bear is very different than a. It says this comment has failed to post to the real Randy Chavez.
That's strange.
Oh yeah, it's all right, man.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was just a little bit about me and about
Yeah.
does it will let me present here? Let's see here.
I mean, the
Share
black
screen.
bears, I feel like I'm one of those guys that think like, oh, I could take a bear. Like I feel like a black bear though, because they're easily scared off, and you don't need to fight it. You just need to pretend like you're gonna fight it, and then they'll run away. But brown bears don't. Oh, here we go. Hang on. Yeah,
So this is my site, right? And if you'll notice, this diamond up here is kind of like the shape of the diamond that's in the Air Force chevron first sergeants,
yep.
right? That has a purpose, right? And so um, anybody looking to bring some leadership or emotional intelligence, I wanted to find this. I wanted to identify with as much of the Air Force as I could. I got tail number 0066 from Charleston on here.
Yeah, Charleston bird.
Yeah. And then these are the different types of packages that right now that I can put together. Like the foundational course is 3 to 6 hours. Intermediate program, is a foundational course plus 90 days of follow up, and then this final course here. But yeah, what you were saying, one of the problems you had is these links weren't working properly, right?
Yeah,
And then all the font was wrong or different, but I went in.
yeah, it was just different,
I
and it's
just
not
went
that it
through here
was
and
like
changed all of
bad. Like I could still read it. It just wasn't. Air Force like drilled into me. Oh, it's not uniform. You got to make it
them. Yeah,
uniform.
100%. I get it. Right. Like, so like down here, these quotes, right? Like this is a coach for a high school football team.
Mm.
That's a genuine quote. There's a high school principal, a senior material leader, right? Like all of these are legitimate like responses. So I just what I would need the most from anybody would be
Well,
to give me a chance,
yeah. I'm trying to think of other events that we because most of my events are like NFT related events, like
Mhm.
Web3 or but that doesn't really help here. I
It's
mean,
all right, man. I think I'm going to be able to break out on. I know I'm not going to break out in a sense like a race, but I think I'll be able to find the support I'm looking for on LinkedIn, Facebook, and then through a couple of contacts I have biotech world out here in Boston.
Make a Twitter. Do you have a Twitter?
Dude, I don't have the mental capacity to put towards Facebook, Twitter. I really don't. I tried my cousin. My cousin is a social media manager for a fashion company in Dallas. I told
Yeah.
her I'd pay her money. I was like, "Please, I need your help." And she said she would reach out to me. She never has, but
Mhm.
I would pay somebody to help me with this, right? I don't have the mental capacity to put forth the required energy in Facebook
Yeah, it's a lot
at
to post
Twitter.
on each.
Yeah, yeah.
I,
And if I had somebody who's like, "Hey, give us 30 seconds on leadership," I'd be like, I'd do a video, but I just can't. I don't have the time.
yeah, yeah, it's a lot to go and post on every
It's
single platform.
it's not that I don't have the time. I can't. I'm not educated enough on the different systems to be able to do it in a timely fashion, right? It would take me hours and hours and hours to set something up, whereas a social media manager would take them 30 minutes to get it all done in a day, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway,
They have, I mean, I know there's places that do it, or there's people that do it. I just don't. I haven't used them or interacted with them enough to know, oh, this person is good and this person's bad. I feel like it's kind of like a crapshoot, and you just don't know which one is going to be, is it kind of a waste of money, or which one's like, oh, you're a godsend. Um,
um,
Pito's
dude, I
asking,
enjoy Peto's what?
he's asking, is one of the long-term goals to introduce curriculum for schools like USAF or
Yo,
ALS or Army BLC?
so Peto, that's a great question. What I thought was like, how can I take the meat and potatoes of what we deliver in ALS and give it to a company? And I figured, a company doesn't want to lose their workforce for more than 3 days. Definitely don't want to lose them for more than a week.
Yeah,
How can I deliver leadership? So there's several things that go into this, but how can I deliver leadership development in a week or less? And that was what I came up with was with emotional intelligence, servant leadership, critical thinking. So, but there's another piece to this, right? The people that the if a company sends me a person to be developed, that person has to be willing to change their behavior. Because if you're not willing to change your behavior, you're not going to become the leader that I've told you you could be, right? Like I can give you this entire course. I could do it all for free. And I could give you the tools. But if you're not willing to change the way you interact with people, which we are required to in the Air Force and the Army, the military in general. Once you become a leader, you are required to change the way you interact with people, your behavior, and so doing that reinforces the skills that have been taught. So, um, a long-term goal: introduce a curriculum like the ALS or the BLC. No, because those are 6 weeks long. I don't know how long BLC is. But the that's the reason for the follow-up, the 30, the 60, and 90-day follow-ups is to say, "Hey, you're struggling at these things. How can I help you, like, shore that up or make it a little better?"
there's something that I think that might help. Um, I like the book 21 Indispensable Qualities of a Leader, Seven
Okay.
Habits of Highly Effective People, How to
I've
Bounce
read
from
that
Others'
one. That's a
Grade.
good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, I really enjoy those. I think if you go and you have and you could use ChatGPT with this, like, hey, make me, a list of 10 rules to live by if you're a leader, and then, but in the style of Seven Habits of Highly Effective People or Eight Attributes of Great Achievers, whatever it is, and then just make your own book, and then just like, hey, if you get this course, it comes with a book, or it comes with a free book, something like
So,
that.
it's interesting you talk that. Um so Randy, you're gonna have to cut me off. You know I like to talk. So, um, you just tell me that you're done talking, and we'll be done. But so I just recently graduated from with my bachelor's degree in business, and I've applied for a master's degree in organizational leadership. And one of the things that I've started, what I want to, I hope that I'm given the opportunity to, but I came up with like my leadership message, right? Somebody told me a long time ago, not a long time ago, 2019. There was a motivational speaker who was a prior Air Force guy. He's a chief, retired, and now all he does, he travels the country. He's a motivational speaker, and he writes books. He writes books. And I saw him in person, and then later on, I just happened to run into him in the lobby of the hotel, and I was like, "Hey, one, thank you for sharing your message. Two, I want to do what you do. How do I do that?" And I'll never forget this. He goes, "You have to figure out what your message is going to be." And so earlier on in 2019, 2020, 21, my message was, we is greater than me, right? It doesn't matter if you're like Randy, you don't have a full-time job, right?
No, it's just the consulting is
Right.
no.
But here's the thing. We is greater than me is that you require give and take, right? You have to have people that trust you, that you can put your trust into to reach a desired outcome. And so that then means the team is more important than the individual. And that's what I started like talking about. That's what my message was going to be, is the team is more important than the individual. If the individual will commit to the team as much as the team is committed to success, eventually the individual will experience their success. And then that landed me in, I'm a huge football fan, and that landed me at God, I don't have one with me, but and I want to get you one. I don't know when you're going to be back home close to this area, but I would love to visit and have a beer with you in person. I have a coin for you.
Oh, I haven't got coined in forever.
Dude, so I had a coin designed for my retirement. And on the back of this coin was it said BLM, or excuse me, OLM, offensive lineman mentality, right? And arguably, the offensive lineman uh is this most selfless individual in all of sports. And here's why I say that. They don't ever have the opportunity to score a goal. They don't ever have an opportunity to uh like earn like points or stats. They don't get to do anything other than to create opportunities for other teammates to be successful. Now, given that understanding, right, understanding what OLM is, then if you commit to the team like an offensive lineman commits, when the team is successful, you will too enjoy success. And so that became offensive lineman mentality. Like, hey, this is what it's going to be. If you commit, then this is the coin I had made. I just want to share it with you. If everybody else sees it, I don't care.
Funny.
So so it's a little nod to the tip of the hat to the Port Dog life, right? These are my assignments here.
Oh, that's cool.
And this is the front of the coin. So I was the first sergeant, and the first sergeant in the Air Force, a diamond within the number one, diamond one. That's our symbol. And then this is the old school Air Force, what we would call the Hap Arnold. And on the back, somebody who put this coin together for me, I told them what I wanted, and then they came out with, be deliberate, don't be a watcher. This is like one of my emotional intelligent courses, orange gold kind of thing. And then OLM is right here in the center. Have an offensive lineman mindset. And if you show up to the team every day with the express purpose to help the team be successful, well, if you can get everybody on board, everybody on the team to do that, there's no stopping that team at all.
Yeah.
When the individual desires success more than they desire the team's success, that's when you're going to start having a crumble effect,
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm preaching, but I'm super
I love that.
super passionate about this stuff.
I think there's what I was thinking about when you were talking about it is the prisoner's dilemma, the game theory from Robert Axelrod from the 50s.
Yeah.
It was, it was like, hey, if you go and you have it as, and for people that don't know, it's saying, hey, we have two prisoners, you and your buddy. If you flip on your buddy or your buddy flips on you, whoever flips is going to get off scot-free, and their person will just go away for a long time. But if you both don't rat on each other, you'll both get minimum sentencing. Like you won't be able to, they won't be able to jail you for a long time. And that's just like, the more you do that, if the more you want to play for the team, like for everyone else wins. If you go in and play for the team, everyone else is going to win.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's very similar to the offensive lineman mentality, where if you care about the team, the name that's on the front, not the name that's on the back,
Yeah.
then everyone's going to win.
So, and that's a great way to put it. One of my deployments, I was in charge of a large crew. I had a flight of 47 people I was in charge of, and we got tasked to go and support another flight. So this will mean something to you, right? I was running a ramp services flight, and the cargo services team was just getting hammered. They couldn't get any of their shit right. They inherited a horrible program. There's a lot of things that went wrong, and it was just every day they were having a shit day, right? They were getting a shit day from leadership. They were getting a shit day from work, and there was just the morale in there was just a big fat goose egg. It was horrible. And I remember the chief came down, this particular chief came down and said, "Bright, you're going to go help them install the floor to their tent." Now, for all of that, anybody who's listening, when you're deployed, you're responsible for your own work area, right? When you get told you're going to go install a floor for somebody else's tent, that means you're doing somebody else's bitch work, right? Not only are you doing it, you're going to have to tell your team they have to do it. Now, break there. I'm a firm believer in never ever putting the blame on somebody else in the leadership chain, right? It doesn't matter if it's their fault or not. You never say, "Oh, well, the commander has us doing this, so it's his fault." That is not healthy. That doesn't do anything for anybody other than create discontent. And even if it's right or not, just forwarding that discontent makes it bad, toxic environment.
Yeah.
So I'll never forget this, having to go to my team. And I was like, "Listen, in 30 minutes, we're going to go over to cargo and we're going to help them install their floor." And my guys lost their shit. I'll let them go for about 30 seconds. And I was like, "Look, this is what it is. We don't have a choice. We're all going to go over there. All going to take a bite of the shit sandwich together. That way, nobody else has to eat the whole thing by themselves."
Yeah.
And it's the same thing that you talked about, right? Like if everybody's committed to the pain, to that discomfort a little bit, then that little bit is all they experience. Or one person gets all of it, and that takes a commitment to a team to do that, you know. But this goes back to creating that environment where people are connected socially, right? And having and not having to rely on AI to be their best friend,
Yeah.
right? Um, and that's a hard thing to do as a leader, especially when your bottom line is dollars and everybody's showing up there just so they can get their rent check. The hard thing to do is bring people together and have them commit to it because it's more important than their off duty time or their outside work time.
Yeah. That's yeah, it's one of the things I I didn't mind extra work. If there's work to be done, that's fine. What I really hated is just hey, somebody else in another section screwed up. Now we all have to have an all call after 13-hour shift.
Have you seen
That's
that
like,
picture of Gary Busey where he's all fucked up and he's like this? Hold on, he's like,
I don't
and
think
it
so.
said the picture is um, when you're the reason for the all call, and it's like,
Uh, I don't think I was ever a reason for an all call. Thank God.
oh, I was the reason at least for 2 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. No shit. So the 21st Air Force Commander, which is the person who is responsible for like 7 bases in Europe,
Yeah.
he was parked on the ramp. And me and the ramp crew pushed a pallet off the end of a 18-foot 60K 30 seconds after that dude took off. Like, he's still got wheels down, and we're kicking a pallet off the back of the 60K, and it fell 18 feet onto the flight line.
Oof. What was on the pallet?
It was lucky. It was just baggage. It was like
There's no 1.1 over there. There's no.
no, nothing explosive. But this was during the height of our 106 missions a day, right?
Oh,
Like, we had a 36 pallet download, and we had a minimal 3-man crew. We had 2 guys in the deck of the airplane,
yeah.
and everybody else was outside in the vehicles. And we were downloading as fast as we could. And one of the K-loader drivers didn't do a walk around. And me, as the vehicle spotter, I didn't notice that the pallet stop wasn't up. And we cycled 1 pallet through 3 vehicles, and it fell right off the back of that K-loader.
Ooh.
And then
Damn.
I followed spotting directions for somebody, and my forklift came in, or my K-loader came in all high in the ass end. And when they told me to pop the wheels, I dropped the wheels, and all of them just started rolling down into the airplane. When they got on the airplane, somebody almost lost their foot, and
Oh
they
my
said
God.
it was my fault. I followed the spotters, did
Mm.
exactly as I was told, and they said it was my fault. So I'm the reason for, at least while I was an airman, 2 commanders call, and then as a first sergeant, I called a bunch of them. But
Yeah. The only time do you remember Andrews? She was Andrews, then she was Stinson. I think now she's Quails. A little white girl from Ramp. We were doing some type of baggage pallet thing on I don't know, on some C-17 load up, and we were getting the pallet off of, I don't know if it's K-loader or just a fork. Oh no, it was definitely a K-loader, because on the forklift you can't. On the forklift you don't have you can't do that stateside. Have the put it from a pallet right onto the
you used to
aircraft.
be able
So
to. I've done it at 3 different bases stateside, but I get it. Maybe it was a McGuire thing.
yeah, it might have been. It was horrible. Anyway, we some of it was on the not the tines, right on the K loader. We were trying to like get it so that it was flat and it wasn't on the borders, and it went on like on her shoe. I was like, oh my God, I don't know how much this weighed, but I like deadlifted it up so she can get her like foot out. It couldn't have weighed that much, but even just a pallet was like a lot. And I was like, oh my God. So my first thought was not is she okay? Which I did ask immediately after. I was like, oh God, we're gonna have to do like an all for this. And then I was like, are you okay? And she's like, I don't know. And she had a big bruise on her foot, but she was fine.
She had steel toes on, right?
Yeah, she had steel toes.
Which is what saved her foot, I'm sure.
Yeah, that was. Oof.
Did it fuck her boot up?
No, the boot was fine. I think it was just a lot of pressure. And it was just a lot of weight all at once. And again, it was fine. But outside of that, maybe I was responsible for having some of the calls stay a little bit longer just for asking questions. And
you were that guy. Oh!
I was for like 2 of them. And then when they implemented text your question to like this whatever,
Yeah.
I had learned like my lesson. It's like, all right, I'm not going to ask anything. But then people were starting to ask like these ridiculous questions, and everyone was looking at me like, "Is this one of yours?" Like, no, I swear,
It's not me. It's not me. Oh man, that's funny. Hey, I got a random question for you.
Yeah, sure.
When are you going to cut your hair, and what is it going to take? And what uh charity is going to get the donations that it costs for you to cut your hair? I don't know if anybody brought that up yet, but
Yeah, a couple people. Well, it's for a movie that I'm supposed to do with Darcy Donovan later this
no
year.
shit. Good for you.
Yeah, and it's because of the writer's strike that happened last year, like everything got moved back like
Oh yeah,
X
yeah.
amount of months.
Slowed down.
So yeah, it was supposed to happen last year. So like I've been like this for like 2 years now,
Wait, you've
and
been growing your hair since you got out. Have you cut it at all?
yeah, I think my last cut was like 2020. So it's been like almost 4 years, and
Oh
it's
wow.
yeah. Um, but if somebody like part of the reason like she likes my hair, but I could very well just wear a wig, but I don't want to sit in like hair and makeup, like
Yeah.
for hours at a time before I get to work.
Yeah.
But if somebody goes and they super chat me a ton, and it's like, or if they have like a donation, they have like my PayPal or whatever, um, I would say like $5,000. And
I don't know if anybody's brought it up while you've ever been talking, but I wanted to bring it up just to see if I could stir the pot a little bit. You heard it, Randy Nation, $5,000 to cut his hair off. Like, how close are we getting to the noggin?
so there was oh no, I would shave it. $5,000 I'd do a shave, but if
What
it's a
would I have?
cut,
What would you pat? What would I have to pay to be the guy that cuts it?
I guess nothing. I mean, I guess the amount to cover travel expenses. But I've
Done.
done it
I'll
before.
pay for your travel expenses to Boston, Massachusetts.
So I've done it before where I have cut the hair for
Yeah,
money, but it was like $300-400 to like just cut it,
dude,
and
you could do
and that
locks
was
of
fun.
love. Man, that's crazy.
Yeah, I probably could at the end of it.
When's the
There
movie?
was another time where I was like I was doing like a 36-hour stream, and I was on yeah. And
God.
so I was drinking, I was on acid too, and then somebody says like, "How much to shave your eyebrows?" And I was like, "I don't know, man." Like, so it wound up being like $300 because I didn't think they would do it, and then like they did it. So it wasn't one person; it was just a group effort where everyone was super chatting like $20-50, and I was like, "Oh man." So that was actually before. It was like 2 or 3 days before my first acting gig. I was like, "Guys, I promise I will come back and I will shave my eyebrows, but I can't show up on set with no eyebrows. They're just gonna turn me away." So I had to do the acting gig, and then I got to shave them. Um,
That's funny.
but it turned out really well because my eyebrows were used to be like super bushy, and they still kind of are. But now they grew back like perfect. They're not nearly as bushy, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Man, that's funny. I
Yeah.
was just trying to stir the pot, see if I could get anybody interested in throwing money at you, because I know that you like to support, especially like animal like rescues and stuff like that. But
Yeah, my main uh goal, I think I've told you, is to get buy land in Madagascar and Indonesia, and then try to save all the endangered species. That's like my international goal. Um,
gosh, that's ambitious. I like
yeah,
it.
and I think that by the end of the decade, I should be able to at least move the ball forward and actually make very significant progress. I'll have
What's the
enough
first one
money.
you want to get after?
What do I have? What?
What's the first animal you want to get after?
Whatever happens to be the most endangered at the time, or maybe I should do like what is most savable at that time that like just got on the list, and they can be removed really quickly and saved really quickly. But in Madagascar, it's like around like the main city, it's like cool. There's some law there, but as soon as you go outside the city, as soon as you go outside, it's
Yeah.
a Charlie Foxtrot. So I've actually talked to a couple of military guys like, hey, in the next couple of years, would you like, I'll pay you like 80 grand a year, and you will secure the perimeter of what we're trying to do. and you get to shoot poachers, and they're like, oh yeah, let's go, let's do it. So
I want in on this.
okay. Yeah, we could do deployment type subs, chill out there for 6 months, and like, so like it's not military, so like as long as the
Is
animals
there
are safe.
any control over there? Like you just start shooting people.
Well,
What's the law over in Madagascar?
so the laws are very interesting. They'll let you do relatively whatever you want as long as it's good for the country, but you have to do a minimum of 500,000 investment into the place. So if you
Yeah.
put, say, like, I'm gonna put $500,000 in here, you could like blow it up. You could dig a hole. You could do
I'm
whatever.
still here. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Wait,
So if I go
500.
ahead,
Where are you at right now?
well, that would be in Madagascar. I don't have the funds. I could start it. I would say in the next 12 to 15 months, I'll have a couple million, and I'll be able to go.
God.
Yeah.
In the next 12 to 15 months, I'll have a couple million. Jesus.
Yeah,
Dude.
I'll have a good, and that's just from like my own. So I mentioned to you before, I had like I'm currently managing money for some other people, and I'll get a decent percentage of that. And right now it's just like I think I got like 97 grand out of the 100 of the first one, and that's figure that does like I don't know, like a 20x, because we're trying to be a little more conservative than that. But I'll have several 100,000 more that I'll go and be in charge of over the next couple of months. And as long as I can buy the things that I need to buy before everything goes crazy, then the money that I'd get from that, not including other just consulting fees, not including speaking engagements, yeah, I would say a couple million next 12 to 15 months, and then I could go at least start my base, of just at least buying the land. And then I might have to wait one more crypto cycle in order to go and to get that next upper echelon. Hey, now I have a 10-year run rate where I could do this, and if it works, great. If it doesn't, I could at least move the ball forward a little bit, and then let somebody that is younger, smarter, and more experienced to try to do that. So that's kind of the end goal there.
So you're talking about purchasing land in Madagascar and then being able to secure that land that is personally owned by you.
Yes.
So what are the rules in shoot, move, communicate in Madagascar if you own the property? Do you know that?
If it is one, I guess I'm counting a little bit on the law is not really out like in the jungle, like it's kind of just, hey, if a tree falls in the forest, no one's around here. Like if somebody's around and they're, but
So
poaching is illegal, but they do it because again, the law can only extend so far. Like that long arm of that law is not so long in Madagascar.
So
And it
if you
doesn't
unalive somebody in the jungle and nobody knows that it was you, then it's still the same as it was before.
An orangutan got hold of a gun and just yeah,
I saw that big orangutan. He kept yelling the word "y'all" at me. That's funny.
So yeah,
Man.
And that'll be again, that's the goal. And so I think this is why also I probably don't have a girlfriend. So the end of the decade, the goal, and I should hit it. But if I don't, the goal is to have 100 million by the end of the decade. And if I get that, great. And if not, shoot for the stars, land on the moon, and I get like 50 million. 90% of what I have my net worth, that will go to this cause. So if, let's say I get that, I get 100 million, and then, 90 million of it goes to this cause. A lot of girls they're not going to be like, chill with that. They're going to be like, fuck.
If you're worth 100 million and you're spending, okay, let's just say you're worth 90 million.
And
9.00000. That's still worth more than a lot of people.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: what are you going to do for you?
Well, I mean, in the last couple of years, I've had things happen that I wouldn't have really expect. Like, I'm interviewing royalty and CEOs and
Yeah,
politicians,
I've
and
seen it, man. That's awesome, dude. You're
I
thriving more than anybody I've ever met. So that's awesome.
thank you. So for me, like I'm a pretty simple, like I'm in this like multi-million-dollar house right now. This is not mine, by the way. And I texted. I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna eat the rest of your bread." Like I just had toast with butter. I made some like waffles. I had some eggs, but yeah, I might got a little bit of liquor, a little bit, but I'm a pretty simple man. Like I was, yeah, I love steak from this place called Teller's in Long Island, but I also love Taco Bell.
Oh,
So
dude, Taco Bell.
yeah, right.
Dude, I'm thinking about getting Uber to Taco Bell since you brought it up, dude. Oh man. Oh, hey, by the way, I don't know if you saw this bottle when I started, but this is the bottle now. Did you
My
see it when it
man.
started? It was before. It was up here by the lake.
Yeah, it was near the eye of the tape. Um, so I mean, I'm going on that trip. I was supposed to go on tomorrow. I have to wait for this package to come, which is
Yeah.
supposed. So I might have to delay that trip another day. But I go relatively wherever I want. I can hang out with and see relatively whoever I want. I mean, it's busy and I can't always do it, but for me, yeah, I'd love to get back into shape a lot more. I mean, I'm working a lot now. Once that ends, I'll be able to go and do that. That's it. I like to. I don't know. I like to pet puppies, kittens, and you're not really going to pet the wildlife over there. Maybe you can. Maybe lemurs. They seem pretty cool, but I don't know. I like going to movies. I want to see Godzilla X Kong. That came out
What's
this last weekend
What's the last movie you saw?
in theaters.
Yeah.
Uh, it was it was with Emma Stone and I think it's called that. Let me Google it. It was a really wild movie. I'll
Emma
explain it to you.
Stone. That's Hermione, right?
No, that's Emma
Oh,
Watson.
that's no. Poor Things.
Yeah, Poor Things. Okay, so did you see it?
I saw the previews for it. So I went to the movies first time in like 9 months, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But I saw the preview for it. That's it.
So in the preview I saw on TikTok, it's her and the guy that plays Bruce Banner, Mark Ruffalo, from the MCU, and they're like dancing, and I didn't. They weren't speaking, because they were dancing in the preview. I was like, okay, I like both of these people. I'll go see it. I don't know what it's about, and you don't know it at first what happened to like Emma Stone, because she's like this 20-something-year-old girl, and she's
Yeah.
talking like she has a mental disability, like she can't form words. The movie's in black and white. What's that old dude's name that everyone wants to play the Joker? He was also in the movie. He's all right. Let me go. Let me go back to
Well, you
Poor
said
Things.
everybody wants him to play the Joker. He hasn't
Yeah,
played the Joker yet.
no, it's I don't think he ever will, because he's quite old now. Um, he is William Dafoe. Um,
Willem. It's
so there.
Willem, by the way. There is no I at the end of that. It's Willem.
Oh, it's just Willem.
Yeah. I, I'm sorry to be a jerk. I hope that
Oh
doesn't
wow,
come
it
across.
is.
Yeah. So, side note, we're conversating about whatever the fuck we want to conversate now. So, when I was in Afghanistan the third time, when we had a rocket attack, we would spend the time in our bunkers.
Yeah,
We would talk about movies, right? So we would play this game. Like I would say an actor, and
yeah.
you would say a movie that the actor was in, right? So let's just say I say Willem Dafoe, and you say
Oh, another actor.
no. You say a
Norman
movie.
Reedus.
No, you'd say a
Oh,
movie.
All Saints Day.
All Saints Day. So then I would say another actor from All Saints Day, which
Yeah,
I've never heard of, so I don't know. And I would be out. We would play this game and it'd be like 20 people in there, right? I was
yeah.
expecting you to say Spider Man, and then I was going
Oh,
to
I
say
should have.
Toby Maguire, right? Right. But whatever. But we would play this game, and somebody had brought up William Defoe, and I'll never forget the dude who was amazing at this game. He was he was from like North Carolina, country as fuck, and he knew every actor and every movie. It was insane his knowledge, his movie
He was
knowledge.
autistic.
Dude, in our career field, I wouldn't put it past somebody being having Asperger's.
Did I ever
Right?
tell you about that?
Hold on.
Okay,
I
go
want to
ahead.
hear this story.
Okay, go ahead.
But we were in here and somebody said William Defoe, and he lost his shit in the middle of a rocket attack. He's like, we're waiting for the all clear. And this dude's like, it's Willem. There is no I in William Defoe. And it just, I'll never forget. I was like, for the life of me, I'll remember this until I die. It is Willem Defoe. I want to hear this autistic story about our career field because I believe it. Already, I believe it.
Well, I can already tell the way that dude freaked out. Definitely got a touch of the tism. So, so different social media sites have different algorithms,
right?
Where like
Right.
YouTube, if you make a new YouTube account, at least in New York, Florida, California, we tried this in a bunch of states. You click on a video on the homepage. It doesn't matter which one, as long as you don't comment or like or do anything on those videos, that algorithm will automatically default to Shrek and SpongeBob videos.
No
And
way.
I don't know why, but every single time we've done that, it does that. And
No.
it'll default to that if you don't like
SpongeBob and what?
and Shrek videos. So
That's fucking insane.
I tried it on TikTok. Me and my friend Justin, we tried it on TikTok, and it will just each time, if you just scroll and you don't like videos or comment or watch them all, it will, the opposite happens. It doesn't go to one thing. It goes, it starts off like right here, I guess, what it thinks you would want, and then it just spirals way out and it starts giving you off the wall shit. Like, I remember seeing this one Asian lady eating a frog while it was live, and it's like
Gross.
trying to like get away off the plate, and I was like, okay, enough of this TikTok crazy algorithm. After you bully it, it just gives you
Man,
the crazy stuff.
that is pretty insane.
So when I eventually, like, I had like a TikTok, I was like, okay, let me just like what I like, and realize that the more you like things, the more it'll give you that. So there's a couple of these people that I really liked the way that they talked about things and they
Yeah.
explained things, that they were very curt, and they said some things that most others would have found offensive, but like it
Yeah.
wasn't. That's not how they were talking.
Hmm.
And I found a lot of these people like that. I was like, I wonder if this is their brain is like, oh, I wonder if this is like a different type of intelligence or whatever that most people like look over. But all of the over the course of, I think, like a week, every single one of them had like a video saying like, I knew I was autistic when, and then I was like, oh my God, I've been liking all of these people and following all of them because they think the same way as me. So out of all of those videos, they all had this, here's how I found out, like the test that they took. And I took that test 3 times. And each time it came between slightly autistic to severely autistic. And like there was no, you're not autistic. Like that was not a result that I got. So this is in 2022, and I go to my then girlfriend at the time. It might have been 2021. I go to my then girlfriend at the time, like in bed. I was like, babe. She's like, yeah. I was like, I think I'm retarded. and then, and she's like, what? I was like, so I told her like the story, and she's like, I think she's like in denial first. She's like, maybe you should go like to a doctor and get a test. Like, I don't need to. Like, I know this. Like, I tested it myself.
I'm dying. Maybe you should get a medical opinion. And you're like, I tested it myself.
I always
You
knew I
brought
was
it.
like a
You
little weird,
brought
but
it to her in bed that you might be quote retarded, and she said maybe you should get a second opinion. And you're like, I don't need one. That's great, man.
so and that's how like I kind of found out. I was like, oh, okay, got a touch of the tism there. Um and
Did
like I've
you
seen that
just
in other,
say a touch of the tism?
yeah, that's what we call it.
My God, dude, that's fucking great.
As-
Oh
as-
my God.
so like some of these stories that I would have that I would think are just funny are just me. Like, so there's a movie called Fanboys. Have you heard of it? It's with this these like 4 guys. that really love Star Wars, and one of their friends has he just happens to get like cancer, and they want to sneak into George Lucas's house to get the to see Phantom Menace like before he goes. And so it's like a timepiece. He's going back like 20 something years. And when he goes and he gets that, in this movie, he runs across a couple of Trekkies, like these Star Trek people. And there's this Seth Rogen plays a Star Trek nerd, a Trekkie, and he goes and he's like praying to the statue of like of Khan, where he goes like Khan, and they run over it with their van, and he has this most autistic, like, really, like, he doesn't say it like Khan, like badass. He goes Khan, and then he takes like an inhaler, goes Khan, and I don't know why, but that's like my Roman Empire, where I think about that all the time. And there was one time where Danielle was taking her dog Gemma for a walk, and I don't hear her come in. And God, are you playing this for? Oh, okay. So I don't hear her come in, and I'm practicing the Khan face, like in the mirror. I'm going like, so she comes in and looks at me, and I'll never forget that look of like when their father realizes their son's a loser because he's getting beat up in the parking lot. I'll just never forget the look she gave me. I was like, okay. And I thought that was just funny at the time, and now I recognize it was something different than that. All right, who are these people?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so I'm not going to use the mouse to say any one of these people was that person.
Oh, I know Wells. I see Wells over there.
Yeah.
Okay.
You should know. So Hollis, he was with us.
Yeah.
Wells,
Mhm.
and there's one more. Marcus Williams.
Oh,
He
yeah.
was he was with us. We were the only 4 from Jersey in this photo. I'm just saying that the dude who had a problem with somebody saying William Defoe is in this photo somewhere. So this is the majority of the team that I was running when we were in Kandahar in 2014. And
Alright.
I was like, man, I want to show this photo because this is one of my favorite photos, and I'm the one that took it, so I'm not in here.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, a lot of good memories come from pop. And what's really hurtful to me, what hurts my heart, is I can't remember some of the names of the people that are in here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, this was my this was so this was on my locker when I came in from work one day. This is Thanksgiving right here.
Yeah.
We were enjoying an O'Doul's and a cigarette because you can't drink when you're deployed.
Yeah.
This is let's see here. I want to meet this guy. But anyway, yeah, sorry.
Oh, that was
I,
good. So yeah, that was the
So how did said girlfriend take this when you broke it news to her that you were retarded?
I
I
think
want to do this. I don't want to get in trouble for saying
yeah,
the
no,
word
that's fine, that's
retarded
fine.
because I'm quoting you,
Yeah, that's
Randy.
true. I think
Randy.
yeah, I did not take the high road with this at all. I immediately started slinging that R word around every day because I felt like I could say it at that point. So the okay. So we get to she just kind of ignored it. I think she was like in denial and just like that was it. But she wouldn't correct me when I would tell other people. And she was a doctor, veterinarian. So
Wait, hold on. Did you be like, "Hey, my name is Randy. I'm retarded"?
no,
When you would tell other people, how did that come up in conversation?
well, I mean, like now, if someone brings up like autism, I'm like, oh yeah, so and then I wouldn't go through the whole story, but I mean, if they ask, I would. Um, but I think my aversion for bright lights and my discontent for people touching me random times, like okay, it's all starting to make sense, and I'm really good at math. So it's like, yeah, that's my special talent.
Oh my God. Dude, listen. As a guy who may potentially be worth 100 million in the next 18 months, maybe you
Well,
should
no,
get a
a
second
few
opinion.
million in the next 18 months.
Okay, whatever. In the 18 million, 100 million in the next decade, maybe you should get a second opinion by a medical professional, man. What the fuck?
So what I've noticed with doctors is that they get
pedo. Wait a minute,
yeah.
hold on. Pedo. So Hollis was one of your last master sergeants. Fuck, man. When Tech Sergeant Bright was in charge, it was Senior Airman Hollis. I guarantee you that dude Hollis is gonna make senior master sergeant.
Nice, good for him.
Yeah, Hollis, pedo, man. Oh God, I wish you could dial in pedo.
Can we?
Yeah, fucking, you do what you want to do. This is your show.
Let's see.
I'd love to talk to him.
Oh God! So my last email that I was about to open, or I was going to email because that's where I had it. It was my friend Lou. We're in I don't know if you play Mega Millions, so like we're in Mega Millions together. Like
I got a ticket up there. I need to go check right now.
Oh, good. All right, where am I? All right, StreamYard. This is from today. What's today? Yeah. All right, this is today. Let me go and copy URL. Let me text him because my Facebook Messenger has been acting up.
Pedo, can you join us? Are you in a position that you can join us? God damn it, Pedo. I think Pedo's the dude that I'm thinking about right now. Like, Pedo scared the shit out of me. And until he hops on in here. So remember when we all met? I was the training instructor for McGuire 305th Aerial Port Squadron. I'm retired now. I'll drop any name I want to. So I was a training instructor. I was the lead instructor. I came in one morning and I turned the light on. And Pedo, when the light went on, stood up at attention. He was in the fucking dark, scared the shit out of me, snapped to attention. I was like, what the fuck are you doing here? And he said something back and forth. I said, follow me. And he said, proceeding, sir. I was like, dude, you're going to have to cut that shit out. I haven't even had my fucking
Proceeding,
coffee
sir.
yet. Pedo, do you remember that? Was that you?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Was that you?
Again in case you didn't hear.
Did you hear what I was saying about you?
I did, and I was getting dialed in. What's up?
Okay, so do you remember the first day we met? So here's what happened. Here's what I remember. And it may not have been you, but I'm pretty sure it was. So I was a training instructor I was the superintendent for the flight, and I flipped on the light, and you're there in the dark. And when I turned the light on, you stood at a position of attention, scared the shit out of me. And I was like, what are you doing here? And you said you told me what you were there for. And I was like, oh, damn. All right, come with me. And you're like, proceeding, sir. And I was like, dude, you got to cut that shit out. Like, I haven't even had my first cup of coffee yet.
Yeah, no, that was me, man.
Listen, I'm not mad at you. I'm not even judging. Like, I was just like, Jesus, dude, how the hell? Like I was trying to get to work on time. And what I mean on time, right? My on time is I want to come into work. I want to make a cup of coffee. I want to get the day started before everybody else starts. And this guy, Pedo, just like he is right now, he's sitting in the dark. And I flip the light on, and he stands at attention and scares the shit out of me.
In my defense, it's after bedtime, and the kiddos are asleep.
Dude, you keep doing what you're doing, man. I'm not mad at you. Hey, so you're in Florida right now?
No, I'm in Georgia.
Georgia, are you active duty right now?
Technically, so there's no active duty positions for W1s in the Army. So I'm like
Are you a warrant officer?
Status until I pin W2.
Are you a warrant officer right now?
Yeah.
Cheers to you, brother. Fucking congrats, man. God damn.
That was a whole year of training. Oh, sorry, the light doesn't work. That was a whole year of training. So 2023 sucked, bro.
Yeah, that sounds like a year of training. Sounds rough.
What are you doing now, though? Like, so what is your position in the Army?
I'm a brigade mobility officer. So
you're like an LRO in the Air Force.
Sort of. So I'm very specialized in a given position. So I'm an 882 Alpha, Transportation Corps, U.S. Army, 1st Brigade, 3rd Infantry Division, Fort Stewart, Georgia. My role is strategic mobility for the unit. So, for example, we've got one of my 7 battalions is doing air load training so they can be rapidly deployed anywhere in the world for whatever reason's going on. So we actually have an Air Force team with us this week, prepping them for air shipment. It's my job to coordinate everything from the commercial line haul, helping with the convoy clearances, make sure the aircraft are booked, and just handle everything from origin to port to destination to get them from point A to point B.
Wow, man, good for you, dude. Man, I'm happy for you.
They're so
Thanks,
proud
That's
of you,
awesome.
Vito.
Yeah, man. That is awesome. Dude, all I'm getting is a reflection off your glasses, which is creepy as fuck.
Bro.
Dude, I know the kids are asleep. I just, every once in a while, we get the glint of your glasses, and it's great, man. You know what?
Kristen's at her desk playing games.
What? She's there
Tell
too?
her to come on. Tell her to come on.
Yeah, get her over here, man. What the fuck?
Oh my God,
Kristen! Hey! What's up? Wait, you got something in your nose. Hold on. You got to get a Kleenex or something.
Yeah, right.
Oh, that's permanent. Never mind. It looks great. It looks great.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm not active anymore, so
No,
embrace the
that's great.
civilian life.
Hey, I want everybody here to know that I welcomed you onto the base at McGuire. I'm just saying. It was just me. All 3 of you. I'm responsible for all 3 of you.
I'm responsible for them getting married. I don't know if I ever. Oh yeah, you would like my
that is a real thing. Yeah.
Yes,
That is a real thing.
It's the real thing.
Yeah, and you still have not named a child after me.
Too.
Huh? Oh yeah. Wait, who's the other one, Peter? McKenna?
You wiped your ass on my windshield of my truck the day I proposed too.
Yeah, that was I think I was. I don't even think I was drunk. I think I was just happy. Brad, I can't hear you.
You might need to forego the Randy Child because of that.
Yeah, I told them they need to name someone after me, but they haven't yet.
We had Lucas, we had Charlie. The 3rd one is a maybe.
At least a middle name.
3rd one, I want to see Kristen before we cut scene here.
What's up?
Hi.
You got one more cooking?
You look so good.
No.
Are you pregnant again? Congratulations.
No.
So the next one is Randy.
Chavez.
Okay, dude.
No.
No?
It's
No?
up in the air. Let's put it this way, okay? I have 2 absolute hellions. I haven't
that's not our
decided yet
fault.
if I want.
That's not our fault.
No, I just
Randy-
don't know if I want to go through it a 3rd time.
Randy says that y'all are responsible for naming one child after him.
You should. I honestly.
The 3rd one appears.
So they haven't.
Yes, you are in the shoot for a 3rd one.
In the shoot. So I think between the 4 of us talking, we need to recognize that it wouldn't actually be Randy.
No.
It would be
right.
Chavez.
No. There's another one in there that we can't name.
No. It's
He who shall not be named is in there somewhere.
I wrote a song.
God damn it, right you did. Wrote a song. I want to see the lyrics. Like this is far past the YouTube. We're at 2 hours and 23 minutes. I want to see the lyrics to the song.
I can read it, or I could. So it's a spoof on.
Read nothing. Ken. Sing. Break out the fucking guitar.
All right. So do you guys know the Barbie song "I'm Just Ken"?
No.
Nope.
Okay.
I want to hear it.
So this is a spoof on that song. No one's excited about the work I do. They say I should stick with Earth 2. No one watches but my dog. When I drink, I call up my whales acting insane. And I say, homie, you should buy a plane. One of them actually did. Fudders are never polite. That's why they sleep alone at night. 'Cause I'm Randy. Anywhere else I'd be a 3. but I guess I'm hot for dudes in VV, because it's an ugly community. I'm Randy, looking like a meth head on the street. Some people still call me Chavi because of things I can't say legally. And then I'd show like military stuff with the names blacked out. I work out and I diet well, but I'm still quite ugly. Yet people still ship me with Brittany and Wendy. Those are girls from the community. And out of the blue, like 8 times a year, when you least expect it, I buy more me. Can you feel that energy? That PTSD energy? Can you feel that energy? That famous LSD energy? I'm Randy. Military life was hard on me. I generate tons of publicity for everything to do with VV. I'm Randy and I do shrugs. I'm mentally ill and I do drugs. But I still get David you to come on my streams. Cause I'm Randy. And that's it. That's the whole song. So I mentioned the Chavi with the, things I can't say legally. Yeah. I'm glad you guys like that.
Well done. Well
Thank
done.
That was well done. Yeah, I love it. Hey, that is phenomenal, man. I didn't expect you to go into it. Right? Most people don't commit like you. Like the real Randy Chavez commits. Nobody really commits like you do.
Yeah. I don't have a what's that called? Like a filter. Like I'll ask me anything. Like Chris, it has been a long time. We haven't talked in a while. Ask me anything, and I shall answer honestly.
Be careful.
Oh, dude.
He's very.
I know.
Hold on. Kristen, when did you show up to McGuire?
2013.
2013.
Pito, when did you show up?
March 2013.
And Randy?
2013. I showed up like a few weeks after Pito.
All of you just fucking encroached on my personal space at the same time.
I remember talking to you when I was at Fort Lee.
Who, me?
Because you were, you, right? Because we were graduating like 2 classes a week on Fort Lee. And I was like, hey, like the computers went down and a bunch of us, we stayed X amount of weeks longer at Fort Lee because when the computers went down, nobody had orders. So we were just like sweeping floors for like a couple weeks after. But when we went and finally got our orders, a bunch of us were coming to McGuire, and I was just like, and you said, when are you coming in? I was like, 8 days, sir. He was like, oh fuck. And then and that was like your reaction. And yeah, it was a lot.
Hey, funny story. I actually got to go back to that schoolhouse during my basic course.
Nice.
You mean for warrant officer or for Army?
For warrant officer basic course, there was a 2-week period upstairs in the old Air Trans TMO schoolhouse where we got hazmat preparer certified from the Air Force. And I can confirm, in all of the state of Virginia, the Air Force schoolhouse has the best Wi-Fi and cell signal.
Hey, hold on a second. If I remember right. Hold on.
Okay,
Who's from Florida? That's Kristen.
Both of
Well,
us.
they're both from Florida.
All right.
Our parents live like what?
2 hours away.
Yeah, 2 hours apart.
And y'all are in Georgia now?
Yes.
Met in Jersey.
Good for y'all. All right. So you said, Alex, when you become a Warrant 2 is when you go back to active duty?
So yeah, when I pin CW2 next year, I'll get. Yeah, it's all technicalities. I'm still working fully active, but it's a lot easier to fire me if I do something super criminally illegal because demotion is not an option.
Right.
So they call it a probationary period.
Okay. But then you're just going to be CW2
doing the same job
until the end of time.
Eventually, I'm talking with Kristen because I mean, at this point, everything is focused on how do I set myself up for retirement. That was really one of the big takeaways during walks was it's no longer about getting to the end of the next enlistment or just even getting to the next base. You're playing the long game.
Yeah.
Not the pilots. It's a 10-year service obligation after graduation of a 2-year flight school. We're just 6 years for the technicians. So they get it rough. But yeah, no, at the end of my my service obligation, I'll be at like 16, 17 years.
Well, then you need another 4 to 3
Which ain't bad.
before you
That's
can retire.
one
Yeah.
more assignment.
One more assignment. That's not bad.
No. And I do like the Army is pretty strict on the you rotate every 3 years type of deal instead of getting trapped at McGuire for the whole first enlistment.
Yeah, that's fucking rough, man. 6 years
Yeah.
in one assignment sucks, dude. I'll tell you this, that in all of my assignments, 24 years, I just retired like 3 days ago. So I haven't retired.
Congratulations, man. I
Thank
was
you.
really hoping to bump into you again.
No, well, I appreciate that. That means a lot. Thank you. That's but so my retirement is effective 1 September. My ceremony was like 8 March. But out of all of the assignments I've ever had, the longest fucking assignment, if I can get into this window, the longest assignment I could have was 6 years, and it was 6.5 at McGuire. And I told Tiffany, I was like, at that point, it's 16 years in the Air Force. I was like, I can't retire, but God damn it, I can't do I'm done. I can't do another one here. And for everybody,
Get out.
and for everybody listening, I did a 1-year assignment to the desert.
That's what I did too.
Where'd you go?
The deed.
I went to the deed for a year. What
I
did
was
you
the
do?
EDM there for a whole
No
year.
bullshit. Who did you replace? Tell me you didn't replace.
I replaced Steve Rogers.
Okay, so you replaced a guy, Steve Rogers. That's Captain America's name, by the way.
It is. He had Captain America tattoos. He had Captain America stuff all over his desk.
That's
Last time
amazing.
he was
crazy.
in the Travis CR. He's a great dude.
I'm
I think
carrying
he made
a coin.
Master last I saw.
I'm carrying a coin, by the way.
You're by the rack, man.
Huh? What did you say?
You're by the coin rack.
Oh, nice. So, I was there for a year, and then I went to Altus for 4 years, and then I was Altus for 4, and my family was not happy at all. Like Southwest Oklahoma was just a miserable place for my family. So I took a 4-year tour to here in Boston, and my wife looked at me about a year and a half ago, and she said, "We're done. We don't want to move anymore." I was like, "All right." I'd been so this September is 24 years. I was a Master Sergeant for 7 years, and you know what's fucked up? So one, I'm proud of you. I'm glad that you're a warrant officer. And I talked to a warrant officer in the Marine Corps, and I was like, "Hey man, what did you get your associates in?" And this warrant officer's like, "Associates? Brother, I don't even have my GED." And I was like, "Bro, it takes an associate's degree to get promoted to E8 in the Air Force." So good for you, Alex. God, I couldn't be prouder for you. I know your wife is prouder than I am. Your kids are prouder than I am. But fuck, man, I'm happy for you, dude.
Thanks,
Congrats
man.
to you.
This was a lot of risk, a lot of work, and I'm hoping I can pull this off.
Did you get your CCAF before you left?
I didn't. So I have enough credits with graduating basic course and walks, but if I get it, I lose out on finishing the other associates I'm working on, so I'm just going to end up losing it.
Let me tell you something. So if there was anything I learned from any of this, so I took AMU, and 24 years it took me to finish my bachelor's degree. 24 years. I finished my bachelor's degree with AMU. If there's anything I learned, is it's a piece of paper that's going to mean a lot to you. It's going to mean a lot to your kids. It may not mean a lot to your promotion. It may not mean a lot to your progression. But the DOD has committed $4,500 a year for you to go to school take one class every 2 months. That's all you need to do, man.
I'm hoping to get back in the cycle. We need to get past. We have an NTC rotation coming up that is just eating every waking moment of time for me. So that's going to be the big hurdle, and then things slow down.
What
a
is
little
an
bit.
ETC? Can you tell me what that is?
It's the National Training Center. So the Army runs 2 stateside combat training centers, one at Fort Johnson, formerly Fort Polk, the other one at Fort Irwin, known as the National Training Center. Because we're a big armor unit, we go to NTC, and they play armor maneuvers and fight tank-on-tank battles for a month out in the sand. And my job is to coordinate everything to get the cargo and the passengers from here and from a number of enabling units around the U.S. over to there so they can do their job and then coordinate their travel back out. So everyone else, their big training validation and their test to see if they're worthy to be armor, infantry, engineers, and other big Army units is what they do in the box. My validation and the validation for my NCO that works for me is, can we get these units to the fight?
Well, I understand. Let me tell you something. If you can commit one class every 2 months, it's fucking worth it, dude. Good for you. If you can't, then fucking no, it doesn't matter. You're gonna be able to retire at W2, W3. That's gonna be more than what I fucking get, man. Good for you, dude. I'm happy for you. I'm happy for Kristen, and I wish you nothing but the best, man.
I appreciate it. If I learned one thing, what's up, man?
You get that enlisted bonus, right? Like when you go from enlisted to officer, you get like extra pay.
Oh,
so
do you get an O2E?
But I'm not no grade. So
Gotcha.
officer starts out enlisted. Even the so-called streets of seat, which is helicopter pilots that they graduate basic training and then boom, they're in basic training 2.0 for walks.
Yeah.
They're still considered enlisted first, so they'll receive a DD 214 with their whole 3 months of service.
Oh yeah, he won't get the. I think what you're thinking, Randy, is the O2E, right? Like
Yeah.
O21, O22, right? So if you're enlisted and then you move over to officer.
Yeah, it's OE pay.
OE pay. You don't get that when you're a warrant officer, right?
No, but I do come in with, I think I'm sitting at 11.5 years of service now. So that's a hefty pay bump right there.
Yeah.
Well, so are you active? Are you guard or reserve right now?
Functionally, I'm active, but my records say reserve just until I pin W2. You might cut out, man.
Yeah, your mic is gone.
You're getting active points right now, right?
Yeah. No, this all counts towards my active duty time. So when I pin next year, like it's nothing. It's just more paperwork.
Cool.
Nice. Good for you, man.
Tito, how old are you now?
Yeah.
How old are you? You're 30 now?
I'll be 30 in April.
Oh my God.
So now you don't have to do as good on PT tests, right?
No, thank God, because the ACFT, like, it's not the most grueling physical thing I've done, but it's not easy, especially after the Air Force made their shit much, much easier. Like the ACFT is still kind of an ass kicker.
How long have you been Army?
I crossed over last January and then went right into basic training.
So you've been 14 months Army.
Yeah.
Why? What was the motivation?
So there's a couple things. I was getting, like, I liked being a 2T2. I'm still proud of my time as a port dog. But I was kind of getting burned out of seeing and being a part of all these big exercises. And my only memories of them is airplane. It just got old quick. On top of that, as a tech sergeant, I just got hazmat inspector. So, and I kept getting passed over for GI courses by all my airmen. And looking at everyone else who was pinning master, that's the qualifications they had. They had JI, they had load planner, they were HAZ inspector for years. They deployed to those positions, and I was none of those. So looking at promotion opportunities and what I really wanted to be, I wasn't feeling it as a 2T2. I think I'd run my course. I tried 4 different times to retrain into a 1 Alpha series. But
which is flight crew, right?
Yeah, just never really got any traction. I looked at the Army Warrant Officer program, started talking to them, and every door flung itself open.
So I'm not even like I had a guy. I've been a first sergeant for 7 years, and I had a guy in 2022 apply to be a warrant officer pilot, and he was a fucking canine handler with a associate's degree in physical security, and they gave him. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to stutter, but this motherfucker is flying Blackhawks now, and he showed up with a physical security degree and an associate's in physical security. And it's like, dude, good for you, dude. He's in Rhode Island National Security, Rhode Island National Guard. He's flying Blackhawks with a physical security degree, associates. Good for him, man. And you know what? Let me tell you something, Alex. I went 24 years. If you go 30, your retirement is going to be 40% more than mine. Simply because, one, you are a warrant officer, and two, because of the time that you committed. So I hope that you are more successful than me, and I wish you nothing but the best, brother. God,
I appreciate that, man.
it's great. It's great to see not only you but Kristen be just there doing what you want to do. Man, I'm excited for you.
Thanks, dude. I mean,
I'm still ingrained with the moment that you scared the shit out of me, but but I wish you nothing but the best, dude. I hope that you become whatever it is you want to become.
and we'll see. Right now, it's maybe do we retire as a W3 at 20 to 22 years? Do we stay to 24 and retire as a W4? I don't think W5 is in the cards, but you never know. I also thought I was going to retire as a chief. The other kind of chief.
What are you going to do to retire as a W5?
So W5 is really one of the more competitive. Well, it's probably the most competitive rank for any of the warrant officer career fields. Looking at my timeline, I would be staying at least until 30. And it's competing against every other eligible W4. You only get, I want to say, 2, maybe 3 looks before you're forced retired. You're no longer worth keeping around. But I mean, we had a couple W5s come talk to us at the schoolhouse, and they were great. The wealth of knowledge they have is just incredible. And the fact that I get to still work with them, whether we're going to force flow conferences, which I'm so happy I got my picture taken in front of the Emerald Building there at Scott for the last force flow we did. But being able to work with these guys, coordinating our vessel movements and trying to get aircraft booked, it's fantastic. And I'm super lucky. My division counterpart just pinned W4, so he's also wicked smart. And I found out actually 2T2s make up a noticeable portion of the 882 career field. So 10th Mountain DTO Aaron Kaiser, he was one of the first ones to cross over. The guy I replaced, Perry, he's over in SDDC in Hawaii. Hell, my counterpart over in the aviation brigade, he was a tech or a master before he crossed over a few years ago. You are mute, man.
Bray, your mic's not on. But while you get that on, Pito, you remember this photo?
Oh my God, I do.
So Pito's in the fetal position, and then there was a guy who's somehow sleeping on his knees. I forget his name, but
Andrew McConnell.
McConnell. He used to have the sleep apnea thing, and he would just fall asleep randomly. And both of you were playing either Call of Duty Zombie or you were watching horror movies or whatever, and you fell asleep like that.
It was great, dude. Dorm life was something else.
Dorm life was wild.
All right, so you were talking about something. What was it you talking about?
There's a number of prior 2T2s that make up 882 alphas.
I wish, Randy, you look like somebody just poked you in the gooch, man. Hey, hold on. This VV Ben, who should be on Cameo?
I think he's saying you because you're getting.
I want to be Cameo. No, hold on. No, for real. For me specifically, Justin, there is nothing more satisfying to me than to see those that came after you be successful. And for Randy, I'm going to tell everybody here that's listening. I don't know that anybody's listening 2 hours and 45 minutes after this. It's just started.
I mean, to be fair, I joined an hour and a half in.
Yeah.
I don't know who's been more successful than Randy and Alex than me, but I'll promise you this, that the intrinsic value to see that Alex and Randy are more successful than me is the most gratifying thing that I could witness personally. Is just a great feeling. And to hear you talk, Alex, from the day that you showed up, and Randy, the day that you too, right? Like you were fucking all on silver, like you had fucking muscle dystrophy and shit whenever I first met you, right? Like your shoulders didn't work anymore.
Yeah.
And Alex, like to see that you guys are as successful as me or more successful is a very gratifying. Sounds selfish, but to see that you guys have gone on to do more than what I ever could have is amazing. And I am so happy to be able to connect my career to yours. It makes me happy. It fills my heart with joy. And Chris is not even in the video, but all three of you came through my office. And I may have not had anything to do with your success other than linking you with the people that made you better. But it still makes me happy. And to see you, Randy, and you, Alex, and to hear Kristen be over there doing what she wants to do. You know what? I can describe or explain how full my heart feels from that. And I thank you for being able to have this experience, Randy. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. It's thank you. That was beautiful, making me cry. Two, I do credit a lot of what the respect I get. I think just as soon as you meet someone and they say, oh, you were in the military, they kind of, put that little bit of respect on your name, whether you earned it or not. And that's probably my most uniquely satisfying work, being a part of those, troop movements, going and deploying, going and just being in the shit with you guys, because nobody, everyone goes through like high school, everyone goes through, their first job, their first breakup, whatever. But I feel like nobody goes through kind of what military goes through, and it's this really awesome yet not, I don't want to say jaded, this awesome yet we're a graceful yet barbaric bunch, and that is it's beautiful in the way that we function, and it's, I guess, like bitter in the way that we have to leave each other sometimes, and we're the only ones that get that. And I need this. Like I need to talk to people like you, to you guys, every so often, or else I don't know. I feel like a piece of me is not right if I don't have that. So thank you guys for going out and just chilling tonight.
Honestly, this has been fantastic. It's not very often I get to really connect with a lot of people. In my job, I'm one of one in the equivalent of what is an Air Force group. So there's not a lot of people I can really relate to, and it's even more rare that I get to see friends and people that affected my life in a significant way from my previous life. I think the last time was about a month, 2 months ago. Nick Bryan came up, and he stopped by doing a JI, helping out with the CR, Adam McGuire. But this helps, and can I call you Justin? Is that weird? Justin's your point man.
No, it is not weird at all.
Cool, because it's like a Warrant officer thing. I like first names are in now. So, like I would definitely attribute a lot of my success in my professional career and a little bit of my personal life to having someone like you take the time to mentor a scared, very stupid 18-year-old kid fresh out of basic training, not knowing what the hell is going on, and doing little things like driving us to appointments, talking music in the car rides, and just being someone that we could rely on, setting us up for success when we start hitting the real world. When we go into the sections, we start catching our first deployments, when promotions start rolling around and we start getting airmen of our own. So thank you, sir, for putting us in the positions that we can press forward.
Well, you know what, Alex? I've never, ever thought there would be a world where you and I could talk, where you weren't intimidated by the rank in which I held. Right? Well, that's important, right? Because as a 32-year-old, right, and an 18-year-old, you're intimidated by the rank in which that person holds. To hear you speak and to hear you just conversate, I had very, very little, like less than 1% to do with that. But to hear you speak in a manner in which you are confident with your AOR is profound in because I get to see you in a way that which you didn't project yourself when we first met. Does that make sense?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. So when I met you, you're 19. All you know is basic training. Randy, when I met you, you were, I don't know, 8 months after you met, because all it takes is about 6 weeks to teach a gorilla how to load a fucking airplane, which is what we fucking do, right? To meet you guys when you first come out of tech training, and then to then reconnect with you after you've had years of experience and understand that the world is a different place than what basic training and tech is. It's special to hear you talk the way that I wish I could have heard you talk as peers. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It does.
And it means more than I could ever communicate in this moment than to just understand that one, Randy Chavez and Alex Pito are fucking successful. And let me tell everybody here, I'm 24 years in the military, and these two individuals, hold on a second, these two individuals are more successful than I could have ever hoped to be. It makes my heart happy that you guys have found that place. It makes everything special to me. And I didn't have anything to do, right? These folks joined and found their place in the Air Force, and I was a little bitty tiny speck on their map to success that they just happened to run into. it makes me happy that you guys have found what it is that you enjoy. And I don't know how else to say that, but thank you for sharing this. Randy, I don't know how many more times I need to show up to your podcast to be the most interviewed individual, but
Couple more
damn, I've been on your podcast 3 times now.
Yeah.
And Alex, I don't know how many times you've been here,
This
but
is the first, actually.
Yeah.
what? This is the first, and you're all in shadow form, like fucking secret agent
So
type.
to be fair, he did invite me on last year, but I was in the middle of basic training and I couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Bring Alex back. Bring Alex
note,
back.
Don't
There
go to
needs to be
basic training as an E6. It sucks.
There needs to basic training as an E6. Oh, listen, there needs to be a Bring Alex Back podcast just for Pito.
We'll get him back at some point. We'll get him back. We got some.
But if I could make this not about me, but about me. I wish that when I leave this world, there are people who are more successful than me. I believe that. I want that. And you two, I believe, are more successful than I could have been. It makes me happy that I could have had somewhat of an impact on you. It makes me happy. So we don't have to talk anymore about it. This isn't about me, but I appreciate the fact that I was able to talk to you and you. And then Kristen's over there. Oh, hold on. Kristen's over there playing video games.
Yeah.
Listen, whenever Chris is ready to talk about it, I remember when she showed up with a killer.
The truck.
The truck! Oh, I saw your face!
That truck
The truck! When she showed up to the base with the truck. Either way.
For people that don't know, that's listening in, she had this gray truck. It had smokestacks on top. It looked like it had just ran through 50 different protesters. There was blood on it.
It
There
was
Zombies! Come on, zombies!
Did I ever tell you that security forces talked to me when I pulled through the gate the one day? They're
No!
like,
If you're willing to talk about it, please do.
I mean, it wasn't anything spectacular. It was just the fact that I drove up to the gate, handed my ID, and they're like, "So, what's the story with the truck?" I was like, "Oh, well, I don't know what to tell you. We just got bored and decided to dress it up." And he's like, "Yeah, so this is what you do when you're bored."
Oh, hold on, everybody who's watching this. She had a Nissan Frontier. Am I wrong?
It was a Nissan Frontier.
Nissan Frontier. And on the front of it said killer.
I still got somewhere in my phone.
But the K was backwards. Just the K. Nothing else was backwards. It said killer.
We were literally talking a couple days ago about getting another truck like that.
There was red handprints all over it.
It's like the red-handed Sauron.
And I had to sign them on, not sign them on base, but Airman Cole, I'm going to say your name here. Airman Cole gets out looking professional, 100%. Blues uniform looks amazing.
Come here,
and she steps out of this Nissan Frontier that said killer on it. And I drive her to the base lodging agency, and I was like, okay, so you're gonna show up here on Monday morning? And she's like, no problem. And there are challenges that airmen that this person dealt with that I'm not going to deal with. That if you want to talk about, I would talk about. But oh my God, killer backwards. The K was backwards, but just the K. None of the other letters were backwards.
Well, you can't have
I
an
was
I backwards. Or the
like-
L's.
But there were 2 R's and an E.
Were there 2 R's?
There were 3 R's. Right? KILR. I don't know. But there was a lot of that. There was a lot of letters that were supposed to be backwards. I will tell you now, the only letter that was backwards was the K.
We're gonna have to delete this podcast later.
And when I met up with Kristen, I was like, "How you doing?" And she's like, "I'm okay." And I'm like, "Fuck, I don't know what I'm gonna deal with here later." But all right. Anyway, yeah.
I remember one of the first days she was in the training with us, TRX. She had brought her old school Game Boy games, red, yellow, and blue, for Pokemon. I was like, "Oh, these are so cool!" And I wanted to play them. And like, I think Pineda was there at that point, and that was
Oh, Pineda.
I haven't seen that dude in years.
the little brown, little brown ball.
Hold on, was it Pena or
No,
Pineda?
it's Pineda.
He ended up going to ramp because he was working with Daniel when I was in cargo.
And you had was that a cattail?
Yes.
Yeah, here. Come here.
Oh, that was so cute. Oh, hi, baby. Oh.
She's the one that we found at in the 50K at McGuire.
She's a McGuire trash cat.
Yeah.
Oh, a baby. I think Gutherman got a cat also from there.
A couple people did.
And then the cat had kittens, and then I think he kept one of them.
Aww.
There's a lot of people that got the trash cats from on base.
Oh yeah. One of the dudes when I was in special handling, load planning, found her. She was 3 weeks old, and she was in the 50K.
Wait, you found yourself to load planning, and you rescued a pet that was in load planning, a 50K.
Yeah.
So, whose was it? Was it Cape Forecasting that would just decide that we would all get like 80 missions per shift? Who do I have to blame? Whose ass do I have to kick for that?
Hold on a second.
Headquarters, Air Mobility
JP
Command,
Trees.
and with a little bit of a little special spice from SCDC and US Transcom overall.
What is this? $sign DCAT. I just turned a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, well, JP Trees, we were talking about her car. You just got to go back a couple minutes, JP Trees, and buy the cat. There's I don't know why. I felt like towards the end of my career there, like the last few months, everything just got so busy again. I was like, oh.
I mean, that was around the time we picked up that Dover mission, wasn't it?
I was going to say, that was when I think Dover shut down their
flight.
Oh,
yeah, that's why. Because Dover had to get their flight line redone, and everything was, oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, we had all their C5s, and that's how I learned how awful C5s are.
Mm-hmm.
Really and truly, aside from having deployed to Bagram working them.
Yeah, bad times. Although I did get to go on a C5 to Germany, Space A. There was I was the only passenger on there. It was
nice. One of the Eagle Team guys that's here. So my Cav squadron's doing static load training on a C5. So this Eagle Team concept, they have load masters and porters assisting units in cargo preparation for air movement. Yeah. So the C5 guy here is here to talk about how to not damage the C5. I wish him the best of luck.
Don't get on the stair track. God damn it. Don't damage a C5. Well, don't look at it. That's number one. Number two, don't touch it. And well, if you breathe on it, we're gonna have some problems.
There was I think I might have told each of you separately. I might not have, about the time where I almost died in a C5.
Oh God, I want to hear this story so bad.
So it was a C5. It was the staircase truck.
That screen.
Because in the C5, me and Fenton. I don't know if y'all remember Fenton.
Yes, Fenton.
Okay, so yeah, as a skinny Asian dude, really cool. Love that man. He I don't know if we were just training together or whatever it was, but we stepped to C5, and after we stepped it, he goes up. I'm in the C5, and he goes up there to I to do something with the passengers. I forget what it was, and then they were doing a refueling, so they wanted to have the C5 stepped while they were refueling. I was like, okay, that makes sense. And then the plane started, just something happened, and the plane just started dropping hundreds of gallons of fuel everywhere. And then I just hear everyone go dun 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 dun, and they're all getting off the C5. Like the crew abandoned the passengers. It was like Jesse that had gone on. It was Ben that had gone on and gotten them out. And I didn't know if anyone was still on the aircraft or not. So I was like, okay, I have to stay in, regulation state. So after everybody's over at I don't know, like my four, like a few spaces away, I'm like putting my hand against the window. I was like, Fenton, and he had asked the crew, is like, wait, my guy's over there, and the crew is like, it's too late, we got to go this way, and he's like, too late. So I see Jesse running. He's like, Chavez, come back, and I was like, so I tried to get the key out of the ignition, and it wouldn't come out. I was like, okay, screw it. So I left the radio in there, and I was like, okay, I just booked it, and I ran. But if that had gone on fire, I was done. If that had sparked, me and that whole aircraft would have gone up in flames. And
nice.
Yeah, that was it. It's good times. Not. I have I'll be I'm gonna head out to Fenton's later this year. They're over in Washington. They're cool. When do you guys? So you're both in Georgia. When do you guys move back to Florida, or are you not going to?
No, we're shooting. I should PCS another 2.5 years, hoping to get Fort Johnson, Louisiana.
Yeah.
Or either Fort Johnson or Fort Cavazos, Texas. I'm just trying to set up. I would like a light BCT, or ideally just a light, maybe an air unit, but I mean something other than armor. Armor it's interesting. The people are great. I love tankers, but oh my god, their cargo sucks to move.
How heavy is it?
Multiple tons per piece.
Oh, yeah, that does suck.
So talking about large outload, it's how many trains, how many vessels, aircraft are not even part of the discussion. Which is funny because one of the reasons I got this job was because of my experience in air trans. So they saw 10-year tech sergeant and they're like, taking them. So I'm glad I did as well as I did in school, so I can prove not just to myself but also my sponsor that yes, this was a worthwhile risk.
Good for you. I have me and Brian were talking about coins before. I still have a couple of them. You said you have your coin rack over there? Oh, is it going to get it?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just get some of the cooler.
Can you hear me?
I got you, bud.
Hey, hold on. I'm going to go get my coins real quick.
Oh, I'll get it.
So I picked this one up at Fort Greg Adams, formerly Fort Lee.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, they changed the name. It's not FortLee anymore. It's Fort Greg Adams.
Oh, Fort Greg Adams.
Oh, Greg Adams.
Okay. I don't have my class coin in here. So, do you know where it's at?
I have one in there.
Oh, perfect. So we went balls to the wall for our WALKS class coin. So every class for Warrant Officer Candidacy School, you get a color and you get a mascot. So we were class 2316, the Gold Scorpions.
Okay.
You'll never believe what our logo is, man.
Is it a gold scorpion?
Yes, technically you're right. Kristen's getting it. I got our nice coin. They had another coin design which I put on her coffee mug, but like we were the gold scorpions.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, motto was technical and lethal. It was great.
Oh, that's so cool. It's fucking awesome. I'm in Ohio currently, and I'm about to head over to a different part of the world. I'll let you know where. I'll shoot y'all a text. So do you guys have what part of Georgia are y'all in?
Just south of Savannah.
Okay. I have
So-
I don't think I'll be there anytime soon. I'll let you know. I'll keep you posted. I'm traveling a lot now, so
That's all right. I'm going to be out the door a lot over the next couple months. So I've got a couple short trips overseas, the big trip out to California, like out the door a lot. They did warn us in school, as a mobility officer, you're going to be mobile. So
yeah, makes sense.
we're staying mobile.
So basically, when that happens, you just kind of do your job over there, and then
Yeah, I mean,
you
a
come back.
lot of the shorter trips is doing recon and setup for upcoming larger missions. So like we did a short 1 week trip out to California in preparation for NTC, and I spent the time talking to their transportation coordinators, looking at what facilities they have to support our rail movement, what facilities they have to support our commercial line haul movement, talking what our PAX flow capabilities are into March Air Reserve Base, how we can flow through, what is their aircraft capacity at a given time, can I move my tank air package into March, or are we flying into a different airfield?
So I think Bright went to go get his coins, and he came back with goldfish.
That's all right. I got gold scorpions.
Yeah, gold scorpions. Kitty, investigating situation. What's up, Dana? Hi. I have some. Oh God, where am I? Yeah. Oh, there's a coin. Oh, that's your
All right.
offensive lineman mentality coin. Nice. Oh, that is cool.
That's slick, man.
Peter, when was the last time you got coined? Been a while.
19. I actually got that coin right here.
Hmm.
Coin for excellence, working as a UDM by the commander in chief out at the 8th.
Sweet. 8-ball.
It was a good trip. I learned a lot.
Right,
made a lot of
your
mistakes.
mic is muted.
Me?
No, it's Bright. I think it's on your
Wow.
computer that is muted. I cannot hear you now. Like on your it says that your mic is muted. I don't know how to. It says say something again real quick.
What about now?
Yes.
There you go.
Dude, I was at the A-teams for a year.
Same dude. I was that UDM slot, like that was rough. But it did a lot to set me up for this job here.
Dude.
So learning from the mistakes I made out there, now one step higher it's helping. It's paying dividends. But that sucked to go through.
I love how you say that, right? It sucked to go through, but it's paying dividends now, right? I wasn't there as a UDM. I was there as a Cape forecaster. But god damn, was it fucking hard to get through all of the missions that were trying to go out and be successful in the United States Air Force out of Al-Udeid and be the single point of failure that Al-Udeid was whenever those people were departing. It was just fucking difficult.
Yeah, no, that year and the year previous when I was a UDM out of the 305th, if you'd have talked to me 3 years ago or so, I would quickly and without shame tell you those were the worst 3 years of my Air Force career.
Damn.
But the training, the certification, and the lessons learned, I could not be here. I've talked to one other Air Force NCO who's talking about crossing over to this job, and looking at the requirements and what we manage as mobility warrants. Like, you need that UDM experience. You need time in log mod. You need time tracking personnel clearance requirements and getting people set up and ready to deploy and receiving them overseas. But that sucked, and that came after a really sucky deployment too.
It's
What year was that?
That was 2018 and 2019.
It's unfortunate that it shows up when it does, but at the same time, you couldn't be experienced like you are now without the grueling experience that came with being a UDM in our career field, right? Like managing the requirements of a deployment for an entire unit, passenger and cargo, is just miserable to describe to somebody who's never done this before.
It's a lot, and I'm glad the Army has made it its own career field. Not just a career field, but like a W grade level position that manages this stuff for everybody else.
Yeah. I mean, you also have people coming in like, hey, can I deploy? Hey, can I deploy? They come in every week. It's like, oh, man.
Yeah, thankfully the Army makes it real simple. If the unit's going, you're going.
Nice.
So let me ask you this. Deployment-wise, would you rather be Army or Air Force?
I really don't know. Hopefully in another year or so I can experience what an Army deployment feels like. I will say it was way more fun to go to Afghanistan as an airman versus going to Iraq as an NCO. And a lot of that was my fault. I was a really crappy NCO at the time, brand new staff sergeant, hadn't worn the stripe more than like 2 months, and I made every mistake in the book. Just completely screwed the pooch. And I'm lucky I had people like Sergeant Thompson or Sergeant Lordson who could be there and try to help me and mentor me. And despite being the screw up I was, they still left me in a better spot than I was when I came in there.
Right, your headset's not on.
You're quiet again, man.
Yeah, yeah.
I mute it because I let loose horrible fucking burps. Okay, so where were you at in Iraq?
That was Al Assad Air Base back in 2017.
Bare bones over there, let me tell you.
Al Assad is where? That's
south
just outside where the Euphrates is. Fuck, I have to Google it. It's been years. I used to know it.
No, that's fine. So the point is that for a transportation standpoint, that you were dealing with everything that was moving west, right?
Yeah, I think our big missions was standing up a C-130, an AC-130 squadron on base, and then also pushing the Marines to not only build up Al-Assad more, but also to push forward and set up FOBs, kicking out. We were there for the fall of ISIS. It was great. I mean, it was miserable with aircraft, but it's cool that we can say we were part of that.
Do you guys I don't know if you guys were deployed at that time. I don't think so. In 2016, they had ISIS came out with like a training recruitment video or something, and there was a post on 4chan talking about it because the people on 4chan is like, okay, here's these like power lines, here's these like radio towers or oil towers, whatever they were. And I remember going to my captain at the time, and I was saying like, hey, I think these people on the internet found where this like this ISIS training video like was made. And then it's like, I it can't just be on the internet. Like, I need coordinates. I need like dates of these. I need all these things before I like send it. I was like, and like I couldn't. They hadn't figured it out yet, but somebody in Russia was just like, "Oh yes, I will send it up," and then they sent it up to wherever they were, and then they like bombed the hell out of them like 2 days later. But basically, 4chan, they found out where that ISIS video training camp thing was, and
Nice.
it was wild.
No, that was before I got over there. I think that was around the time Kristen was in Afghanistan, though.
All right, you have a guy. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
You have a guy named or a gal, Dana.
She was in Takedam in 06, and then again
No,
in 07, 08.
That's to crit.
Oh,
And-
shit, my bad.
No,
And
TQ is Takedam.
TQ is Takedam, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Bryce here.
When I was in
gaslighting
Al
me.
Assad, we had the majority of the 305th team head over there.
Yeah, and we had so it was Al Assad, Al Takedam, and yeah, I know. I thought I was getting gaslit over there. But it was just like an airfield, right? Like y'all had like nothing over there. Your night vision goggles sucked, but you weren't there until like later. Bright, when were you there?
So the only place I ever done in Iraq was so let's see here, Baghdad from December 05 to February 06. And then all of my other time that I spent was in Afghanistan.
Yeah. I remember right before we left, this was in August of 2016. I had we had a bunch of people from McGuire. I think we had Wells and I think like Murray, they were coming back. I remember seeing them go out and then watching them come back in, but it was these people from McGuire. It was Hooper. It was Wolfgang hadn't gone yet. She was about to go it was Wrinkle. It was Wolshan, just a bunch of people from McGuire. And over there, Wolshan's like, "Hey, I never gave anyone the keys to my apartment to like look after it. You know, here you go." I was like, "Okay." So I wound up looking after his place for like 6 months. Me and Wolfgang, I actually lived there for a little bit, so that was really fun. Dana got there in March of 06. But yeah, they were headed to, I think it was Al Assad or Al Takedam, one of the two.
I think Wrinkle and Wolfgang were with Kristen and Bagram.
That was in 2014?
That was 16.
15. Yeah, and then they kept taking Kim away from me. I kept they kept going and
Is she still in?
Yeah, she's still in. She went to. I saw her in Germany a few years back.
Oh no shit.
She's in.
I know Wrinkle got out because I was working the UDM office doing his processing paperwork.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's back in Florida.
I
It was weird.
haven't.
Right around 18, 19, seeing everybody we joined with just dropping off.
Yeah, I don't know who else is in. Still from when we were there. Is Wells still in?
I'm not sure. I found out the other day St. George is still in. I thought that dude left after like this 4 or 6 year mark, but his name popped up on an email roster for who's PCSing in right before I left the Air Force. I'm like, no shit.
Wait a minute. Wasn't St. George the guy whose wife had a effed up pregnancy?
I don't know. Because he went to ramp, I went to cargo, and I just completely lost contact with him.
I'm not sure. I think Miller's still in. I remember we called him while he was in Iraq. I don't know like why I answered. Me and Thompson. Do you guys remember Sue Thompson?
Yeah.
Yes.
We did like this Euro trip together, and Miller had just posted something or like commented on like Facebook. So we like video chatted him, and he's just like in the dark in his tent. It's like, "Hey guys." I was like, "Oh, hey man." Is his wife still in? She was Laher. I know she's Miller now, but
Melissa, I know she retrained into education.
don't know if she's still in.
but
Okay.
I'm not sure if she's still in or not.
Right. Do you remember her? Do you remember her? I know you remember Miller.
Yeah. No, I worked with Melissa in the UDM shop, and then Keely took my spot.
I was on Bright. I know you knew Miller. But
So I'm still thinking about St. George. St. George had a wife who had a complicated pregnancy.
Dana, check your Twitter. Sorry about that, Bright. Keep going. Keep going.
She had a complicated pregnancy through the New Jersey medical system, which he was pending a fairly substantial lawsuit. And I don't remember what happened, but it was not determined before I left.
I'm not sure. I know I was in tech school with him. He's a good dude. I hope everything worked out for him. But he was a nice dude to work with.
There was a bunch of people that I really like that I mean like Facet, that was a sad day. That was a sad couple of days.
You were talking earlier about the mood changing. That was when everything immediately shifted.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they wouldn't let that, and then you had the Sark case, and then immediately, like, we weren't allowed to drink in our own dorms, even if we were of age, and we had to go, and which, like, I didn't really help the problems. Like, okay, we're just gonna drink in somebody else's dorms, and then so yeah, that was not that didn't solve anything.
I mean, it got people a couple Article 15s. I remember that.
It got a bunch of people in trouble.
Definitely learned Army Article 15s, Air Force Article 15s, different beast.
Okay, so they impact the same, but they're different.
Like, I've seen airmen get Article 15s, and it's like an ender. When I was going through Fort Sill for basic training the second time.
Wait, hold on a second. Let me stop you. Fort Sill. When were you at Fort Sill?
Oh, that was last January through April.
So I was in Alfred, Oklahoma from 2016 to 2020. And you went from January 2023 to... Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
that was me redoing basic training because I crossed over.
Let me tell you, whoever's listening at this point, hold on a second. 3 hours and 27 minutes and 7 seconds later.
Oh, this is going to be a rough day.
Fort Sill, Oklahoma is its own Call of Duty map. And you went to it for training, basic training. How long?
Just shy of 3 months, including a waiting period.
Okay, let's just say 80 days, because that's just shy of 3 months. I can't imagine doing 80 days in a Call of Duty map. Dude.
It was weird. I outranked half the damn drill sergeants, dude.
Did they give you a hard time because of that?
No. I mean, it was really cool. It was nice to be able to interact with people in that position as peers, not necessarily as the young dumb 18-year-old kid. No, being surrounded by said young dumb 18-year-old kids was something else, man. It's a weird feeling to look at a grown-ass person and say, hey, stop moving in the position of attention or we're all going to get dropped. And not 2 minutes later, everybody getting dropped because this kid can't sit, just stand still.
Yeah.
I had one kid. He's a good kid. It was early on in the training cycle. I had just gotten clearance that I could fall out of the formation when I wanted to make on-the-spot corrections so the drill sergeants didn't have to. And this dude was just talking, chatting, pointing stuff out where we're supposed to be walking. I'm like, dude, what the hell are you doing? You are not supposed to be doing this. And he didn't like that I was raising my voice to him. Didn't touch him, didn't order him to anything. I told him, what are you doing? Stop being an idiot. In a fairly aggressive manner. And he decided to catch attitude back. He ended up catching a summarized Article 15 And then he was my battle buddy through all 3 field exercises. He's a great dude. But I'm glad that the Army Article 15s don't have to follow you or kill your career if the commander doesn't want it to kill your career.
Right.
Because the kid just needed a slap on the wrist. He learned, and he's doing great. I actually bumped into him a couple days ago.
Good for you, man. That's awesome for him too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More reminders that I'm kind of glad I'm not an NCO anymore. I wasn't good at the development of airmen. I could do the job. I could tell people how to do the job, but I could not influence people like you could, dude.
Yeah, I was not. I never became an NCO. I was supposed to test when I was deployed, and apparently that was the year everybody passed. So I knew if I were to go and test, I would have passed. But I was deployed, and then they kind of. I had a raider from Ramp that didn't like me for whatever reason, and instead of giving me like a 5, like must promote, he gave me like a 3, and I was like, oh, like, God damn it. So
that was back when the rating system was like super biased too.
Yeah. So despite excelling at like everything, it gave me that, and then I had a thing with a PT test where that year I wanted to just get super huge and cosplay as Bane for like Comic-Con, and I just had like a PT test, and like I passed everything, but like even the pass mark wasn't enough, to pass it all. Like the sum of the parts didn't have a pass. So like, oh, you need to like redo it. It's like, God damn it. All right. So I redid it and it was fine. But then they had me do I forget what it was. Like they denied my leave for one of the parts. I was like, guys, I have like 3 months left. I literally have to go, and like if I don't do this leave here, I'm gonna have to just put it onto my terminal leave, and I'm just not gonna be here for like 4 months. And then they're just like, no, can't do it right now. I was like, oh my God, that's horrible. So I had to split a couple of things up. It was nice because I got like 4 months off, but
yeah, I actually got to take terminal leave in the Air Force, and we burned all of it driving from Elmendorf down to my parents' place in Florida to drop off Kristen and the kids.
Nice.
That is such a worthwhile drive if you ever get the chance. Driving from Anchorage to the East Coast.
Oh, I mean, just driving in Alaska is. I really want to go to Alaska. I hear it's really pretty, but I am scared of the wildlife. I'm scared of bears. I'm scared of wolves. I'm scared of they could eat you, bro.
Lived there for 3 years. I don't think I saw a wolf once on base, but it was kind of in one of the more remote sections before you got to the flight line. Bears, we saw black bears. Never saw a brown bear. Wanted to, tried, didn't. But bears are not the concern. Bears are that apex predator that has the capability of deciding if it wants to mess with you or not. Unless you surprise it, it can make the decision of if it wants to be violent or not. Yeah. Moose, on the other hand, have this weird thing where they think they're the size of a chihuahua and everything's a threat to them. And they will choose violence on sight because they think they're that tiny.
I've seen them run in the snow. I've seen them go pretty hard in the snow. Like, oh my God, how do you run that fast? How are you that huge? Like sneeze and destroy a car.
What's cool is if you drive the Alcan, right, Chris, it's like right about when you get into British Columbia, all the bison show up.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, and they're super friendly. Like we drove past a dude who's just kneeling on the road, and the bison were walking right up to this dude.
I'd be very scared of that.
I was gonna say, definitely not recommended. It's not the smart thing to do.
But he got great photos, I bet. But they're right by the car. You got to weave in and out of them as you're driving. It was cool.
I work with this guy. Well, I've done like a couple of things for him. I don't actually work for him, but a guy named Steve Cannon. He goes into these really remote places on Earth, spends like 8 weeks there just to get one single shot of like a good picture of animals, and he gets these really amazing photos. But sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he'll spend like 6 or 8 weeks somewhere and he doesn't get the shot that he's looking for. So photography is it's very rough. It's not as fun as some people make it out to be.
No doubt.
Although they had that job in the Air Force being a photographer.
Yeah, I saw that. It wasn't for me, but talked to a couple of the PA folks because we worked with them a lot during my time in 732nd, and they seem to enjoy it.
Yeah, I bet. I've had there was one where somebody had taken, I forget what it was, actually on the JBMDL like homepage, where it was me and McAllister coming out of like a C-17, and it was just like snowing out, had that reflective belt on, and it
I
was just
remember that photo, dude.
yeah, I'm trying to find it. I don't know what to. I don't think I made it like a profile picture or anything. Maybe I should have. Trying to figure out what I posted it as. I don't know. I'd love to show it.
I think it was your Facebook banner for a little bit.
I thought it was. I couldn't find it. All right, so let me try it from the other searching view.
Justin, that is impressive, man.
That's a beast. Yes. Here it is.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that's my one of my favorites. Bright, you're your thing is muted. You're still muted. I think you're muted from the computer. Yeah, Bright, you're muted on the computer.
We can't hear you, brother.
We can't hear. No, we can't. I can see your words, but it's on the. There you go.
Oh man, look at you! Go back to that picture.
Oh.
So that photo says like I'm a bad motherfucker. Look at this,
Yeah.
like and it's really like, hey, dispatch, show packs complete.
Pretty much, yeah. That's exactly what it is.
Dude, it's weird, but honestly, one of my favorite memories is that one day we decided that Lima Row on the parking apron was now Llama, and everyone just called it Llama Row for a whole day.
Llama Row.
I still
Right,
everyone looks at me weird when we're doing stuff with the phonetic alphabet because I'm still just like hardwired. J is Joker.
Yeah.
So
Brett, you're muted on your headset.
What about now?
Yeah, you're good.
So I muted on purpose.
What?
So two things, right? I can't stand the 3-syllable foxtrot.
Yeah. Still
Right?
too. I know what you mean.
Foxtrot, those 3 syllables, F and then trot. Foxtrot. I can't stand that. That bothers me. And then Juliet, I can't stand saying Juliet, so I say Joker.
Joker.
Same.
Yeah, right, Joker.
It's
Those
quick.
are
And it's like, somebody's like, oh, Joker 1 or Juliet 1. No, it's easy. It's just Joker 1.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many times I got told that I need to say Joker versus Juliet. And I was like, all right, okay, cool. I'll do it. Yeah, Joker. Juliet. Yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
No.
I remember, I forget who it was. We're waiting for an aircraft coming in on not the main flight line. If you go back past the one of the hangars, like Alpha or Zulu or something, and I forget who was in the van, but like dispatch for like ramp or whoever, like they were like certain that there was an aircraft there, and then the person who's like in the van is just like, I don't see an aeroplane, like, and they just said aeroplane in a really weird way, and I just died laughing.
Everyone looks at me weird because I still abbreviate aircraft as A/C and forklift as F/L. And trying to brief captains and majors on a one-slider con op on what's going on, and it's like, dude, I don't know what you're trying to tell me. It's like, I'm sorry, man. This is the way that it fits.
Yeah, that's crazy. I remember, like, when I was doing upgrade training, and they were like, hey, we're going to go out to Spot. And the only place that this aircraft parked was a place that they needed a fleet, right? And I was like, as a ramp guy, I was like, I don't get it. This doesn't make sense. Let's go out. We're going to go out to Romeo 1. And they're like, right, that's not Romeo 1. That's like Foxtrot 2. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. So let's go to Romeo 1.
I never got in any like trouble on the flight line. I loved working on it because it was just chill. You just drive like vehicles.
On the flight line.
Did you? How'd you get that?
So the wing commander caught us. We parked at an aircraft and the engine was still running, and we were fleeting the aircraft.
Wait a minute. You got an LOR for what?
Engine running, parked at an aircraft.
What was the LRR for?
It was a direct safety violation.
Oh.
What's funny, though, is that was done by Senior Master Sergeant... Oh, God. Shit. I can't think of his name. Dude, why can't I remember his name? Chris,
Was it
Senior.
on,
He was my chief at 732nd. Started with a G.
Started with G.
Govin. Senior Govin gave me that LOR, which I earned. I did screw that up. And then, funny enough, a couple years later, I was in Chief Govin's office with one of my airmen, and that airman was catching an LOR for something dumb he did.
Damn.
It's weird how it works out like that. Except I caught that LOR as a staff sergeant select, and there I was in his office as a tech sergeant talking to the actions of my airman.
So there was one where it wound up being fine and nobody saw. We kept it quiet until now. It was what were those? The civilian aircrafts that came over on like Zulu on the opposite end where I was talking about before.
Oh, the C-32s?
Something like you had to step. You had to take 2 staircase trucks to step both of them.
Yeah,
both of those.
the C-32s.
Yeah. So we go and somebody. I forget who stepped the first one. Maybe Gant stepped the one on the back and you stepped the one on the front. And then I don't know who gave like the go ahead, but I guess somebody gave the go ahead or you thought somebody did, and you like left. Like
Yeah,
that
was my first time driving stairs at an aircraft.
That truck was gone. I was like, oh God, this door is not closed. Woo! So we got the back door closed, and then it's like, all right, let me just pull in over here and get that other door closed. Or I had to go over there so that nobody.
No, that one was C-32. That was one of the Baltimore 757 rotators.
Yes.
First time ever driving stairs for a mission. I screwed that one up good.
I was in. I think I was in the van or something, and I think Gant was driving the other one, and we just had Gant go in and move it onto the. After we closed the back door, we just moved on to the front, and thankfully nobody ever knew.
Yeah. Flight attendants did, but they're not talking to anybody.
Yeah. So again, like Flightline was always chill for me, but I always used to get not like I never got paperwork for it, but just on the counter, like where I would just. I don't know. I would be paired with like Sergeant Woodruff, and Woodruff would just be like, "Hey, Chavez, your pen is hanging out 3 inches out of your pocket." And it's like, dude, we got like 3 C5s on the ground. We got like a C7. Like, is that really what we need to be focusing on right now? Or when they would make us go to flight kitchen after we send over like 60 meals, we had to go 5 minutes later. Hey, are those meals ready?
My favorite is, hey, aircrew ordered meals. They're already at the jet, but we got to pick them up, and we weren't tracking this. It's like, what the fuck, guy?
The aircrew wouldn't fucking leave without their goddamn barbecue sauce.
Dude, 2 different aircraft, 2 different times. Reservist crews both times, delaying the aircraft because of something stupid.
Fucking reservist crews delaying our aircraft.
Over it. Sorry, now I get to deal with boats. Lots of boats.
Boats. I am not a strong swimmer, so I will never deal with boats.
Neither am I. It's mostly coordination.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Coordination and just ensuring that all my cargo gets uploaded. Because I had no idea until I crossed over, but air movement is like the smallest component of Transcom. Like it's the primary mover for like packs, but for cargo moves, it is primarily by vessel. So most of the stuff that we pushed into Afghanistan and into Iraq went through like Kuwaiti ports.
Cool. Kuwait. Krista, what game are you playing?
Oh,
What game are you playing?
I'm trying to remember the name of it. Sorry.
How do you not know the name? You're actively playing the
While
game.
the iron's hot.
She's playing While the Iron's Hot.
Okay, I haven't heard of it. I hope it does her well. I hope it gives her entertainment.
Looks like a side scroller indie.
Ooh, nice.
The blacksmith.
She's
I
playing
love
as a
those.
blacksmith.
So let's keep talking off camera for a little bit, but I'm going to end the podcast here because we're at like 3 hours and 45 minutes. So
Yeah,
we'll
no, I
end that
got
there.
to dip soon, man. I got PT. I got to be in formation at 6